Welcome to the Criminal Connection podcast, Mr. Noel Clarke.
You just hate him or you love him.
Right.
I'm just that guy.
Because there's only one. Noel Clarke.
I think you're going to get the role. And by the end of that week, I had the role. Yeah, well, I've had a bit of interest from others.
Yeah.
The mum, I've been offered this soap. Lord Jesus! And I was just writing the whole time. In that time, I wrote Kidulthood.
Ooh, how you doing? If you haven't seen Doghouse, me and Noel, we do look hot in a dress.
Like Beyonce and Katy Perry, one of the execs was just like, what if you directed it? He threatened to kill my children. That's a different level. I know the truth, and deep down he knows the truth. Ashley and I, in 2009, had created this TV show. I don't want to see you fighting aliens, I want to see you knocking some guy out. I said to Jason, listen, I'm writing, brother. And to build yourself back up again is about that. And he goes, bro, run.
So I want to say a big thank you to all their sponsors for making this podcast happen. Without you, we wouldn't be here. Stargaze Entertainment, thank you so much. These guys are hosting celebrity events up and down the country, giving you the opportunity to get up close and personal with your favourite celebrities. Pure CBD, your natural path to wellness and balance. Dream Mentoring for all your mentoring needs. If you need some positivity in your life, Tom Smith is the man. And finally, to Carson & Kay Solicitors, the UK's leading criminal law firm, to help get you out of any tricky situations you may find yourself in after watching this podcast. To find out more about any of their sponsors, click on the links in the description below.
Welcome to the Criminal Connection podcast with me, Terry Stone, the Podfather. Today, we've got a very special guest. He is known as Noel Clarke. He's a Bafta winning legend of the film industry and a good friend of mine for a number of years. Welcome to the Criminal Connection podcast, Mr. Noel Clarke.
I clapped myself.
How you doing?
Sherman. Where did we get that Nutty Professor thing from?
Do you know something? For anybody who's watched The Nutty Professor, I'm Sherman.
I'm Cletus.
And he's Cletus. We've had this sort of pet names, love names, whatever you want to call it.
Years. Like 12 years or something
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. But I'm glad you've joined us now. And
thanks for having me.
I like for all the people that are listening and watching this around the world, I think people don't actually know the real Noel Clarke.
They don't. Right? No, nobody really knows me.
So the reason for me wanting you to come on the show is obviously to go back to when you was a kid.
Yes.
Right. And literally tell us about where you grew up and just your lifetime experiences growing up as a kid in London.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Ladbroke Grove, which was later became called Notting Hill, and everyone started giving it the sort of like, oh, la-di-da. But it weren't fucking la-di-da when I grew up, mate. Do you know what I mean? It was a badge of honour. Like, you told people you're from Grove, they stepped back. Do you know what I mean? It was rough.
But then later on, did you then go, yes, I'm from Notting Hill?
No, I hated it. I hated it when it was called Notting Hill, because I was kind of like, well, hold on, this is like all the people I know were getting pushed out, couldn't afford to live there. Like it wasn't I grew up. But interestingly, the specific area that I grew up is still underfunded. It's where Grenfell Tower is.
Right.
It's still underfunded. They ain't knocked that tower down yet. They ain't fixed it. You know what I mean? That little area, that little pocket of North Kensington and Chelsea, the richest borough in Europe, has that little area of like council estates with Grenfell Tower, which they never fix because they don't want to fix it. Because if you fix it, people stay, and they want everyone to move out. Right. So I grew up there, mate, and it was a rough time. Notting Hill riots. Do you know what I mean? All Saints Road was a road like just the north of Ladbroke Grove, where if you was white or police, you couldn't go there.
It was a famous road.
All Saints Road, mate. You couldn't go there unless you knew certain people.
Well, I remember.
You could probably go down there. Yeah, you probably knew some people. Yeah,
a few people down there. But I used to go around there, and there was a great. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a great Caribbean takeaway there that did the best jerk chickens.
What, Yum Yums?
That's the one.
Yum Yums. Yeah.
So we'd sometimes, because obviously back then. Are you talking about like 80s, 90s?
Well, 80s I was about 5, but
okay.
You know,
I keep forgetting that you.
I'm a bit younger than you. Yeah, a bit.
But we used to always go through Leverett Grove on the way out of the West End.
Yeah.
Get some yard food, as they call it.
Yard food, man, from Yum Yums. Yeah. So that's where I grew up, man, and it was. It's so difficult. It's so weird because, like, you know me, and I grew up like not a gangster and not doing all that stuff, but all my friends around me were doing it.
Right.
And I don't know why. Like, I talked to my good friend who, you know, got a life sentence and is now out and he's doing good. But I talked to him, I'm like, I don't know why, but I've always been different.
Right.
Just like, you know, I know we get there later, but just like getting in the industry, when I sat down at the beginning of my career and I just looked, I'm like, I'm gonna take over this thing. Right. It's not out of arrogance. It's firstly self-belief.
You've got to believe in yourself.
Yeah. Everyone reads these books like, oh, manifest it. But when somebody has it, they hate them.
Right.
But I believe you. The first time you met me at the audition, you've already told me that you guys, when I left, you thought he's a bit arrogant. Do you know what I mean? And it's, for me, people thought that a lot, but for me, it wasn't arrogance. It's like I believed. And when I came to that audition, I'm like, I'm getting this job.
But I think whether you're an actor, whether you're a businessman, whatever you do in life, if you don't believe in yourself and back yourself, nobody else is going to do it.
Sure, but this is more recent for people. It's a recent thing, innit? Self-belief. Like 10 years ago when I was doing it, people just think, oh, fuck, he thinks a lot of himself. And so, but I was different back then when I was a kid. I just have that energy. Like when from 5, 6, I just have that energy. When I walked into a room, you just hate him or you love him.
Right.
I'm just that guy.
But I've started calling you Marmite instead of Cletus.
Freddie calls me Marmite. Freddy Krueger calls me Marmite. So all my friends were doing bad shit, and I just was able to not do it. Yeah. I was fine when they were like, yo, bro, come on, like you need to do this, man, or let's do this thing. I'd be like, nah, and they're like, if you don't, bro, if you can't be with us, you'll be on your own. I'd be like, all right, cool. I'm happy in my own company.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and I think if you're happy alone and you're happy in your own company, they lose the power over you.
And I think talking to anybody who's been involved in crime or doing anything they shouldn't be doing, I don't think anybody looks back on it and says, oh, I'm glad I did that. Everyone always regrets it. Yeah. So I think you made the right decision.
Yeah, well, I wish I hadn't have done it now because, you know, done a bird, you know. Yeah, no, I know.
There's no value in it, really.
There isn't.
And I think, so.
But you don't always realise that. A mate of mine, when he knew he was going down, I said, well, that 2 weeks before they got you, what did you do? Like, were you terrified? He said, nah, I fucking went out and did armed robberies. Because
I mean, when you talk to these people, you're just like, you know what? He's going to go and get a cappuccino, and I might actually get a fucking donut.
Because he said to me, I said, but why did you do that? He said, because I knew they were coming for me anyway. So I just thought,
what's another 10
fuck
years?
It. Yeah, I just thought, fuck it. I'll just go rob people now because they're coming for me anyway. And then they got him, but he served his time and he's a fucking model citizen now.
Right. But I think sometimes that's really one of the main reasons for doing this true crime podcast. Because, you know, I think to be able to give people a message of, you know, there's not one person has been on this podcast and gone, I've done all these crimes, I'm really happy about it. No. I've gone to jail and I'm going to do some more, so I go back to jail. No, you know, but I think it's.
Well, I ain't done all these crimes, and I'm really happy about that.
But I think it's good that you made that decision. But when was the calling for you, with regards to like, was it drama? Was it acting? What was the thing that got you first? That you said, actually, I want to do that.
Acting.
So that was the draw. And was you looking at like a certain actor and thought, I can do that, or I want to do that?
There wasn't anyone.
Right.
There wasn't really anyone when I was...
Because there's only one.
Noel Clarke. There's only one. No. Well, firstly, they only let one brother through at a time back in the days. So it was like Don Warrington on Rising Damp or some old show. You know what I mean? And then it was like another 10 years. Then it was Lenny Henry. Then it was another 5 years. And it was this person. So there wasn't really many people, to be fair. And it was, again, it was one of them things that I grew up with my mum.
Right.
I mean, my dad will sit here, he'd be fuming now because he now recollects that he was raised me. But, you know.
But the reality was you was brought up with your mum.
I was brought up with my mum.
Right.
My mum. That was it.
Amazing.
I knew where he was. I knew who he was, but my mum brought me up. And so, but she had to work. You know what I mean? It's not like nowadays you leave your kid, they go, oh, your social services. She would like, right, here's your snacks. Boom, 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 boom. I'm at work today. Don't open the door for strangers. Right. This, that, and the other. And she's off to work, and I'm at home. So at home, I got my snack. I do my breakfast, my cereal, or me. Like, mate, I got a 15-year-old now, and he's like, Daddy, wouldn't the toaster? I'm like, mate. Honestly, when I was 7, my mum was gone to work and I was doing all my stuff, and I knew not to put the knife in. You get electrocuted, like, you know what I mean? This kid's like, I'm in the other room, I'm like, what's happening? Well, I put the knife in the I was like, son, do you know what I mean? But that's
put the knife in the toaster.
But so, you know, I do my snacks and all that, and then I just watch TV. I just put on the TV, and if I was playing with my toys or whatever, but the TV be on in the background. So I knew from like 5, 6, 7, I'm like, I want to be one of them people on the TV. Didn't know what it was, didn't know what it was called, didn't know how you did it.
It was good that you had the calling though. And then
yeah, I just felt
what was the steps for you from going, that's what I want to do? Did you do drama at school? Or?
I did drama at school. I made sure I always did drama at school. Then I did A-level theatre study. But firstly, I failed all my GCSEs originally. So I did drama. I passed drama and computing with a B, 2 Bs, and I failed everything else. So when I went to college, I had to do everything again. You know, I don't
want to like have a one-upmanship on you here, Noel, but I actually failed everything. So.
Failed everything. Well, that don't surprise me, mate, to be fair.
So you know, but I genuinely believe, like, I think exams are important, but I don't think they're the be-all and end-all, and I think you've either got it in you or you haven't.
100%.
So.
In the long run, there's too much pressure on kids with that, because in the long run, your hard work and your dedication matters, not those specific exams. But at the time, whatever, I did drama at school, then I retook all my GCSEs, got what is considered passes like C's or whatever. I never excelled in anything apart from drama and media. And then I did A-level media, theatre studies, and PE. Oh, and PE. PE. Like, sprinting, running, only like, to this day, only like 3 people have ever beaten me in like 200 or 100. I was fucking gone, mate.
We haven't had a race yet, mate. I might be 52, mate.
Yeah. I think you beat me down to the fucking emergency room, mate. Where's Terry? He's fucking in the hospital.
I told him not to race you.
Told him. Yeah. So that as well. So I was doing PE and I was doing drama and all that kind of stuff. And I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And then I was just one of them guys. I'm like, how do I do this? So I fucking look, and it said there's a thing called Contacts. There used to be this book called Contacts, which listed all the agents.
I remember Spotlight,
yeah. No, it's a different one. It's called Contacts. Maybe it was done by Spotlight, actually. And it listed all the agents and all their addresses. And I remember I used to send fucking, I'm an actor, I'm really good. And I would send hundreds out. I just kept bombarding, just get ignored all the time.
But do you know what I find interesting about this? And obviously this is for any actors, any writers, any directors, any producers, anyone who wants to be in film or business, right? They don't see the struggle, they don't see the hustle. They just see you doing
he's done
whatever.
well.
He's all right, he's lucky, he's had this.
Yeah, how did he get that?
But that just from what you said straight away, you just get knocked back.
100%.
So you get the resilience, but you fucking go again.
Knocked back, you just go again.
Yeah.
You go in post office, you're buying your stamps, you're buying your envelopes, you're printing your CV and all that, and then any little drama thing you do, you're redoing your CV, boom, send them out again, 50, 60, 70. All the agents, just send them out again. No responses, whatever, you just keep going.
So when would you say was your sort of breakthrough, when somebody actually said, yeah, no, come and have an audition, or yeah, no, I'm going to put you in something? What was your first break that, when you actually got something, you went, well, I'm actually working as an actor now, I've got to
Well, it was, so, because the drama wasn't happening, I kept doing it. I tried to go university, it wasn't for me. So then I was working in the gym, and I was doing like, personal firstly, I was a lifeguard in the swimming pool. Then again, when you talk about graft and talk about like, how my brain processes things, is I worked in the sports center, and I found out in the sports center that if you wanted to do a course to progress on anything, they paid for half of it.
Sign me up.
I said, hold on. So I started off cleaning the water slide and all that, and then I was the water slide attendant. Bro, serious shit, bro.
Man, I started at McDonald's. It sounds like a similar journey.
Serious shit, bro. Water slide attendant, brother. No, you ain't going. Just wait. Go.
Who are you? I'm the water slide attendant.
Yeah, bro. I took that shit serious. And then lifeguard, and then I realized they're gonna pay for shit. So when it was time to do lifeguarding, bear in mind I'm a water slide attendant and cleaner, right? But lifeguard, you're gonna pay for it. We'll pay for half of it. So how long have I got? Right. So I saved the money. Boom. They pay for the something. Then I'm a lifeguard. Then I realised, well, then they're gonna pay for half of it. I do my gym instructors as well. Then I become a gym instructor. Then I was personal trainer. Like, I always thought to myself, I always looked at situations like, all right, cool. How can I?
Have you ever disclosed the fact that you're a qualified lifeguard?
Yeah, many times.
I didn't know if anybody knew, because if they didn't, if they remake Baywatch in Brighton, you could be getting a call.
Possibly. Except my boobs would be bouncing up and down, mate. I'll be Pamela Anderson. When you get to my age, you got to keep in shape.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
I'll be Pamela, mate. Some people playing in the darkness. Yeah, and then so I did all that.
I
So I
actually
kept
had a
doing
vision
it.
of you in a blonde wig there.
In the blonde wig. I could pull that off. And then, so that's my point about the work ethic. I kept going. And so then I had opportunity. There's a guy called Ricky Beadle Blair. He was doing a show called Metrosexuality. It was a pilot for Channel 4. And they kind of said, if you get the job, then it might go to series and all that.
Yeah.
And I was like, mate, can I audition for this? And he was like, how old are you? It's for a 16-year-old. How old are you? I was like, I'm 21. He's like, too old. I said, mate, I promise you, I'll work harder than anyone you've ever seen. He said, all right, I'll let you audition. He said, I won't tell the channel.
Right.
I won't tell the channel how old you are. Look 16. I said, don't worry about that.
You've always had that youthful look.
Right? Not right now, right? I look like Catweasel, but he said, look 16. So I've gone home. I'm like shaving my fucking legs. I've like took everything, like, you know, I'm ready to go. I've gone into that, and I've learnt them lines back to front like I always did. I smashed the audition. And I remember I caught the bus there and I walked home because like I didn't have enough, I hadn't been paid yet. I didn't have enough to get the bus both ways. So I got the bus there, walked home. And on the way back, he said, they're so impressed with you. Said, you're better than all the actors that they had. I think you're going to get the role. And by the end of that week, I had the role.
Amazing.
But then straight away, I was like on the CV, even before it was finished shooting, on the CV, boom, 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 all the agents.
Yeah.
As soon as I got my scenes, and then when we did shoot it, as soon as I got my scenes, video cassette.
Wow.
Video cassette. VHS, right? So
before you don't even know what that is, but it was a big tape, basically.
Big tape. 50. So I'm paying this out of my wages. 50 VHSs, envelopes, stamps. You weigh it, remember? Because at the post office you have to weigh it. You know what I mean? It weren't like a letter, first class in. You have to weigh it. I've done all that and I've sent 50 out. Again, always in contacts. The 50 ones that I think are the best ones, right? Just from what I've heard or whatever. I get 3 responses. Finally. So all these years I've been doing it. Finally, I've got a bit of tape with some scenes on it. I send 50 out. I get 3 responses.
How long would you say from when you started
sending things out?
How many years?
Like 4 years, probably.
So 4 years of being told no response.
No response. Not told no. Fucking no response, mate. Probably the assistant.
I mean, that shows you like resilience, determination, not giving up, all the attributes people need to succeed.
And then finally, 3 responses.
And who was that from? Was it agents?
Agents, right, 3 responses, and 2 of them said no thanks.
Right.
2 of the responses were like, thank you, but no thank you. And one of them, which was an agency at the time called Gordon & French, one of them said, yeah, we'll meet you, come meet us. So I've gone in there like, yeah, well, I've had a bit of interest from others. What's happened? Yeah, I've had a bit of interest from others, and so I'd love to consider my options. But if you're interested, I'm like, yeah, I think we're interested, and then they took me on.
Amazing.
And that was the first agent.
Right.
One job that wasn't even out yet, no training, no nothing, but they were like, we'll give it a shot, see what happens.
And then what happened from there? Were they good for you? Did they get you more?
They were good.
Right, mate.
So
I know they were a good agency.
Yeah, they were good. So Metrosexuality came out, then it got made into a series. So suddenly I'm leading a 6-part series. So they were like, oh, fucking hell. So then they started getting me like the bill, little episode of Holby, Casualty, all that sort of stuff.
What did you do in Holby?
What did I do in Holby? I was a casualty. I got.
And normally you either do your leg or you have a car crash.
No, it was a. Was it? I don't remember what it was, but I died in the end.
Oh, okay.
Like and then the bill, I was in the bill with Reggie Yates. The episode was with Reggie Yates. But this is the interesting thing, and this is where, again, much like I told you about when I was a lifeguard and I started looking at the environment. So I'm doing Casualty, I'm doing the bill, just these little things, Oh, there's one episode of this thing coming. I mean, and bear in mind, there's a lot of things I didn't get. Right. But odd Casualty bill, odd thing, whole bit, whatever. I'm sitting there like, everyone around me like, oh, well done. I'm sitting there like, I don't like this. I'm like, I'm more than this. I can do more than this. I know I can. So I start saying to my agent, see that thing you sent me, that script you sent me, and I'm going up for like Tyrone or Thug number 2. So what about that role of John, like the main role? Oh, darling, listen, look, actors that have got training and blah, 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 and you're just,
You didn't go too harder.
blah, blah, yeah, basically, and you're not right for John. I said, well, why can't I be John? So I started questioning, and they would like, just basically get back in your box. Yeah. But I was like, I don't like this. And I'm reading these scripts, I think, this is shit. I know this is shit. But my mum's always said to me, like, don't talk about someone's job unless you tried it.
Right.
How can you say that the shoemaker don't make good shoes if you ain't fucking tried to make a shoe? You ever tried to make a fucking shoe? No, right. So I'm like reading these things like, this is shit. I know it's shit, but I can't say it's shit unless I've tried to write. So I started buying my writing software. I started buying screenplays. I would go to like bookshop and buy screenplays, like not even books. They used to sell screenplays in like.
Yeah, I remember in Samuel French.
The books,
Fables?
yeah, Fables and all that. So I would buy screenplays. So I started reading them, and I'd read this shit, and I think this is shit. I started writing just on the side. Just started writing on the side, and I wrote a couple of things. I'm like, my thing's better than this, but who am I? You know. And our agent would like put me up, and then they started saying, oh, you know, you're getting a bit of traction, but no one thinks you're trained, and you know, maybe you should just go in a soap. You know, we can get you in a soap. And I said, nah, I don't want to do a soap. What do you mean? What do you mean? I remember specifically the words. She said, what do you mean? You're a kid from a council estate. You know, a soap could potentially give you 50 grand a year, maybe more. That's more money than you've ever seen in your life. And I think we can get an offer on this soap. She told me, and I remember then they come in with an offer. I said, no, I ain't doing it. I remember I told my mum, I said, Mum, I've been offered this soap. Oh, yes. I said it's going to be about 70 grand a year. Lord Jesus! Like, thank you, Lord. Like, happy. Right. And then she let her finish. I said, I'm not doing it. She said, oh God, what did I do to deserve this? But like, I said, I'm not doing it. I said, I can do more. You sure? I said, yeah, I can do. I said, I know I can do more. Like this, I know I can do more. I'm not disrespecting them, but I know.
No, but you know your worth.
I said, I know. But I didn't have any at the time. I just knew.
No, but that's what I mean. You knew your worth.
Yeah, I just fucking knew. I just knew. And I'm writing. And so I didn't do that. And then I just kept getting knocked back. Like, you've got no training. And I tried to, can I go for these other roles? You've got no training. You've got no this. And then it was, you've done no theatre. You've done no theatre. I said to my agent, all right, I need to do theatre. She said, well, I can get you some small plays. Did a couple of little small plays no one's ever heard of. Then I got an Oval House play. Then I got a Royal Court play. Then I won a Laurence Olivier Award. Like the fucking theatre award. And then I was like...
So I didn't even know that now. What was that for?
It's a play called Where Do We Live at the Royal Court Theatre.
The Royal Court's the
Royal Court, directed by Richard Wilson, starring Adam Garcia from Coyote Ugly, Daniel Evans, big theatre director now, Jemima Rooper, Nicholas Aaron, Susanna Barker, like some good actors, some other fucking prick I won't mention, but he might come up later. I'm fucking prick. Anyway, and so I did that play and I won a Laurence Olivier Award, which is like the fucking award. And then suddenly people were like, oh, who's this? Who's this new actor that we've been hearing about? I'm like, fucking new? It's been 6 years. Right. Fucking new. And I was just writing the whole time. And in that time I wrote Kidulthood.
Do you know what's amazing? Like, you kind of done the drama at school, but you didn't classically train at a theatre, a drama school, be in a tree for 3 years. No. You didn't go to a writing school to learn how to write. You've pretty much self-taught.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable. And then Kidulthood, and one of the reasons for me wanting you on this show is because you created, if you like,
genre,
the first hood franchise.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think was Kidulthood 2004 it came out? 2006.
It was filmed in 2004. Bear in mind, I wrote it in 99, 2000.
Yeah.
The director come on board in 2001.
Yeah.
It was cast in 2003.
Wow.
Collapsed. The whole film collapsed as films go down. You know, they go down. Come back in 2004. Yeah. Shot in December 2004. Right. Then no one wanted to put it out. Come out in 2006.
I mean, we did that Rolling with the Nines film.
Yeah, that's right.
In 2000.
It was after. Yeah, it was after.
And it come out. I think it was the same year, 2000. It's either 2005 or 2006. But what was really interesting for me is the way Rolling with the Nines come about, because as you know, I used to be in the rave scene. We used to do Gary's Nation, One Nation. And one of my mates who was in the scene, he actually said to me, Terry, nobody's ever done like a British Boys in the Hood. And he goes, we should do one. And at the time, Kano, Estelle, Dizzy Rascal, all these characters were coming up, like friends of ours. Yeah. And we got them all in the movie. And I remember hearing, and I don't know if we was filming Rolling with the Nines or we filmed it, but then I heard about Kidulthood and I was like, that sounds interesting. And obviously we didn't know each other then. No. But Kidulthood come out, I remember it was a massive success. Yeah. Air One come out, it didn't get a big cinema release, but it still got Bafta nominated, still won a few awards and did good business. And
we never got no awards. Kidulthood got nothing.
But I think that moment was, 2004, 2005 was when that new genre.
100%.
It was literally like in America, it had already started.
It had been done, yeah, Boys and Hood and all that.
But we done you started obviously with the Kidulthood, then we did Run with the Nines.
Yeah.
But it was really a celebration, I think, of what was going on because like you said earlier, when you watched anything on TV or any films,
weren't represented.
It was always like, oh, there's somebody over there who's doing whatever, and there wasn't really representation. And I've always loved urban music. I mean, when I used to put Gary's Nation on, and One Nation was drum, bass, and Gary's. Before that, I grew up on reggae. I was going to reggae dances. I've always been into like that music.
You weren't doing a blackface, were you?
Pardon?
You weren't putting on a blackface?
No, nothing like that.
I'm joking.
But all my pals. But the thing for me is, I don't know. Do you know what's really funny? Like my family would listen to like fucking Elvis Presley and Sinatra, all that stuff. But I went into any of that. I was always into. Yeah. I mean,
just calls you.
When I was 13, right, I had a bit of lino and I was break dancing. That's where the name Terry Turbo come from.
You still got it?
Yeah, not the lino. Right?
No, the moves. Name. The moves.
I'm sort of. But come here. Woo! How are you doing?
All right.
But I was into rap and hip hop then. I think I even stole one of them Volkswagen signs off someone's car.
Oh, we all did that. The fucking Mercedes, you break the Mercedes off and wear it on the fucking neck. Yeah.
But the thing is, for me, it was just like great. So when I actually got into promoting, I wanted to promote that urban music.
Yeah.
And for me, Rolling the Nines come along, and it was a great movie. I watched Kidulthood, great movie, and I was like, wow, there needs to be more of these. And then obviously, after Kidulthood, tell us what happened with that, because I mean, it had a big cinema release, didn't it?
No, it was only on. What's interesting about Kidulthood was, it was, when we first were pitching it, no one wanted to make it. Right. Then we got it made privately. I didn't raise the money. I was nothing to do with that. And the money come up, and then we made it, and then no one wanted to put it out, so it sat on the shelf for 2 years. Then it come out in 2006. But what's interesting, it was only on 54 screens.
See, I always thought it was on 100 plus.
Nah, because it made like fucking 600 grand. So
that's what I thought it was on so many.
Nah, wow. They were packed. Cinemas were packed. It's like £4,000 screen average.
Wow.
Like it's packed. Like that means that basically your screens are like the old days when people were sitting next to you. You're like, why is he next to me? You're getting like they were cinemas.
Put your hands in your popcorn.
Yeah. It was 54 screens only.
Amazing.
And but what was interesting about that, and I'm going to tell you a secret that you might not know. This was the first time I started seeing the haters.
Right.
And I remember some of the boys from Rolling with the Nines were after me. They wanted to hurt me.
Really?
Because they were told that I was insulting the movie. People said like, he's been out there insulting your movie, right, and this, that, and the other. And I was like,
Did you know? Was it the North lot? Because there was.
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Okay, so there was a North London.
I don't know who it was, but I remember hearing about it and like thinking, what fucking why? You been insulting the movie and all that? And I'm like, I never did that. Right. But here's a secret that people don't know. Because I've had that a lot, where people tell Rap Man, oh, he's insulted your movie, or tell this person he's insulted your movie. Like it's always the movies that are similar to mine where the people say he's insulted it. But here's a secret. I made a very, very important promise to myself at the beginning, especially when I started hearing this shit. Says that I'm never gonna insult any of those movies, no matter what, no matter who's in them, there's one fucker that I insult his movies, but we'll talk about that in a minute, right? But I'm never gonna do that. Right. And the reason and you know how I'm never gonna do that? And this is the secret. I ain't gonna watch any of them.
Right.
To this day, when I sit here in front of you, I ain't watched Rolling. Right. I ain't watched even my mate, like people like Femi that I love and respect. I ain't watched Intent. Right. I ain't watched none of them, because I thought to myself, if I don't watch them, then I got no opinion, right, and then people can't say I've insulted them. They still said it anyway.
Right.
But I didn't watch any of them. I've not watched any of them. The only ones I've watched in our genre is my own ones. Right. To this day. Yeah. But it's very interesting that even back then, people, they find a way to pit people against each other. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what,
and it's always in this genre.
No, but I think in life, whether it's film, whether it's television, whether it's business, I think people, people. So I've always looked at competition as being healthy, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I don't really compete with anybody. I compete with
myself. Yeah.
Right? But lots of people think, it's a game and all this. And I think people think if they throw a banana skin under what you're doing, or they say something to somebody. And the thing is, normally what happens...
Well, it does work.
But what does happen is people, the genuine people will come up to you and go, I nearly said a naughty word then, but that person said X, Y, Z about you, and it's good for you to know that, because then obviously you can just park them up.
100%.
But unfortunately, lots of people don't do that.
Yeah, but also sometimes they say that when you ain't said anything.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So what I've noticed about life, and you know, my wife had a similar thing. She was around some people, and one of her friends was being a little bit offish with her, and she was a little bit like, you know,
what's going on?
I don't get why, and I'm like, listen, I said, just cut the person out of your life, blank them, don't speak to them, don't engage with them. If they want to be like, just fuck them off.
Yeah.
Life's too short.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And it turned out that one of her so-called friends that she'd known for a long time,
they've been telling the other one,
been talking shit,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
and putting shit in her head. And the only reason I found out is because this woman, who's a dear friend of theirs, right, but almost wasn't because of what this person had done, actually turned around and said, I was actually on a train, and I'm sat on a train, and her ex-husband gets on. And he goes, hello, mate, how you doing? And I'm like, yeah, sweet, how are you? Oh, got divorced. I'm like, oh, sorry about that, you know, blah, blah. And he goes, I can't believe, you know, what your missus was saying about her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you talking about, mate?
Yeah, she weren't saying
that.
And
he goes, well, that's what she said. And I went, listen, mate, I said, you think that me and my wife are going to go around fucking bickering and talking shit about people?
Like, got things to do.
I said, you're fucking mad. I said, you know, and I sort of kind of put it on him a little bit, and he was a little bit like, you know, all right, calm down. I said, mate, I'm just fucking telling you how it is, mate.
Yeah, 100%.
I said, I'm not one of these people standing at the school playground going, oh, do you know what she said?
Do you know what so-and-so,
I said, I couldn't give a fuck what she says,
100%.
or what you think, or what she thinks, right? End of. So he's then got off the train and ran and gone, fucking hell.
She never said it.
But then all of a sudden, it's like, then it's all sweet again.
Yeah.
But obviously, if we'd never had that conversation,
100%.
we'd have never known. And it just shows that the world is full of poisonous people.
100%.
It's full of snakes. It's full of people who, you know, in this country, and I think someone said to me, and I love this, we had this amazing woman on it the other day who is a police hostage negotiator.
Right.
And I'm chatting to her about stuff. And one of the big things she's done is psychology. And she actually said to me, in the world, she said, it's crabs in a bucket.
Yeah, 100%.
And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, like, one of the crab starts getting out, starts achieving.
The others pulling back down.
All the crabs go, no, come back down here.
I'll pull you back down, yeah.
And it is literally like that in life. And when I had that analogy, I actually thought to myself, I thought, do you know what, it's right. And I've always celebrated success. Like, you know, if you said to me tomorrow, I won the lottery, I'll go, well done, mate.
Well done, mate.
If you said to me, I've done this business idea and I've made $1 billion.
100%.
Right? I'll be like, fantastic. Why don't you fucking let me get some shares?
Yeah, right? Possibly, yeah. 100%.
I do not want people to fail. I do not enjoy people suffering unless they fuck me off.
yeah. Then fuck them. Fuck them.
Then fuck them, yeah. But genuinely,
fucking banana skin. Have that.
That's 10.
Have 10 banana skins. Fucking pour the barrel out. Yeah.
But genuinely, I think that's one of the things that people in the world need to do. So it doesn't matter what religion you are, we're all one, right?
100%.
And if everybody in the world wanted everybody to succeed, right?
Be a much better place.
The world would be great. Everybody would crack on. And I think, like, growing up, I grew up similar to you, single parent, no money, council estate. And I think when you're growing up in that environment and you haven't got anything, right, when you get something, you appreciate it.
100%.
Right? And I think a lot of people are told they can't do things.
I was told that all the time.
You can't do things, you're not good enough. You're
all the time.
When I was on a council estate, I used to walk down to the town centre and I used to walk past all the fucking expensive houses. And I'd look at them and I'd go, I'm going to fucking live in one of these. 100%. And I always said to myself, I want to get off the estate.
100%. Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, I feel
and the thing is, but the problem is, I think if you listen to the bullshit and you listen to the narrative, you have to go to school, you have to get your exams, you have to go to university, you have to get a proper job, you can't do this, you can't do that. So then you just literally stay in your lane. But I think what they should be teaching people is like, you can achieve anything you want.
You can achieve anything you want.
You just have to believe in it. You don't have to read you don't have to read The Secret. You don't have to get into self-help books. As long as you go, I'm fucking doing that. You put in 100% effort and you do everything in your power to get it, you will get it. It might take you a year, it might take you 10 years.
That's what I told my kids. Like, you can do anything.
Absolutely.
I said, the reason you guys don't know how to fucking use a toaster and your privilege is because I busted my ass that you had a better life than me.
Yeah, I bought you a toaster.
Do you know what I mean?
And I bought you a knife to put it.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? You ain't spreading it with your fucking hands or anything like that.
Yeah, we did it the old school way.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? I've told them that.
Yeah.
It's like, you're privileged. You lot are privileged because I busted my ass. Do you know what I mean? That's the point, because like when they said, he's never done theatre, he can't do it, I won their, and I say their award because it's like, it's an industry award, isn't it? The Olivier, the Laurence Olivier. Everyone was like, if you win one, it's this. And then I got it and they were like, oh.
Did you go out and buy a cravat? You must have done, in a silk dressing gown.
I think I wore a cravat for my first Bafta. I think I wore a scarf.
You got a little moustache with a little curly.
I wore a cravat. Nah, fuck that, man. I remember the guy next to me was nominated as well, mate. And he was like, when they said, and the nominations are, he fucking gripped my leg. He was sweating. He was like that. And I'm just thinking, I don't give a fuck. I didn't even know how important it was at the time.
If I get it, I get it.
If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't.
Sometimes if you go in with that attitude, then, you got it. So.
I go in always with that attitude. Always with that. Auditions never, like I said to you, when I came to the Doghouse audition, you were there. Like, I was like, I'm getting this job. When I was coming, I'm getting this job. But I thought to myself, if I don't get it, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. I don't get it. Do you know what I mean? And I did. It was great.
Do you know what though, Noel? If you hadn't got that job, we'd never dressed up as a pair of girls, would we?
As women, 100%.
We actually, if you haven't seen Doghouse, me and Noel, we do look hot in a dress. We do.
I think I look. It was like Beyonce and Katy Perry. It was like Beyonce and Katy Perry at a dance-off. Like, we just were so hot. Like, I think sometimes they mistook us for some of the girls in the thing.
Yeah.
You know
that song, Don't You Wish the Girl was hot like me. That was actually a song, wasn't it? I reckon Michelle Scherzinger saw that movie and went, I'm writing Noel and Terry.
I believe you. I believe you. Well, we did look hot, mate.
We did. I should have shaved my legs though. That was one regret.
No. You're an independent woman. You don't have to shave your legs, mate. If you want armpit hair and...
That's all good.
Yeah, it's all good now. It's all good, man.
That's good.
Don't have to shave your legs, brother.
But before we get on the Doghouse, obviously you did Kidulthood. That come out, big success.
Big success.
And then what happened for you there? Because did you do Doctor Who after that?
Straight at the same time. Kidulthood was done before. Then I got Doctor Who. Because as I said, as I was grafting and starting to get things, I started getting, I went to Alvida St. Pet, massive audition. Yeah. Alvida St. Pet, and I was like, I'm getting this job. And I remember I got the job, and then they said, you can't have it, you can't drive. And they said, we need to sort the visas out in 2 weeks' time. I was like, got to pass my test. Fucking went and did lessons, passed my test in 2 weeks, was like, there you go. They were like, oh, great, he's got the job. Do you know what I mean? 6 months of fucking in Arizona and all that sort of stuff.
Alvida St. Pet was like
classic,
massive, and it was a great show. Doctor Who, a great show.
100%. And then I got Doctor Who as well. And I remember Doctor Who, again, I walked in, I tell you, I saw people I saw at the audition, big stars now, they're all bigger stars than me at the time, but the people I saw coming to audition, and I was like, I'm getting this job. I walked into everything, like, if I didn't get it, I wasn't gutted. Wow. Didn't go home crying. I was like, didn't get it. But every job I walked into, I'm like, I'm getting this job. And if I saw people like, how you doing, mate? But people felt uncomfortable because straight away I'm like, how you doing, mate? You good?
Right. Yeah. But I think...
Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting this...
But that is a good mindset. I think 100%. Any actors watching this, when you go into audition, you have to say to yourself, I'm getting it.
Well, also, most of them are on tape. Most of them are on tape. They rarely go in anymore. Yeah. It's on tape. But even then, I'm like, I'm getting this job. That was my mentality all the time. And then, Kidulthood came out at the same time as Doctor Who, big thing. Everyone's like, who's this new actor? I'm like, new? 10 fucking years.
I won an Olivier, don't you know?
Yeah, 4 years ago. But it is what it is, right? As soon as you get Rising Star, 10-year overnight success. Thanks, mate. And then I started writing other films. Right. I sent them to everyone, and everyone was like, nah. And I wrote all these films, and people just passed on everything. All these scripts, people just like, nah. And then I just thought, I don't get it. What? Like, how did I have a success? Like, you're supposed to succeed at something, and people go, oh, that's great, let's do something else. Nothing. So then I wrote Adulthood. I just wrote it on spec. Like, I wasn't paid to write it. I just had an idea, and I was like, I'm gonna write Adulthood.
That was the movie though, wasn't it? That was the one that done the big box office. That was the one.
That was the one. But what's interesting about that is I wrote it, the producer weren't interested, the director weren't interested, he's like, nah, I'm not interested. The producer kind of weren't interested, he's like, nah, ain't gonna do like the first one, not interested. So then Pathé literally were like, well, if the whole team's not there, we don't really know if we can make the movie. And then just what I remember, one of the execs was just like, what if you directed it? And I was like, I'm not a director. I'm not a director. And then he said, all right, well, let's think about it, because if we don't know who can do this material, you know, blah, blah. And I was on my phone, I got home to my missus, I said, my babe, she's like, yeah, you never guess what these idiots said. These idiots said, why don't I direct the film? Like, fucking hell, I might direct in 10 years or whatever, I ain't gonna direct now, I'm an actor. And she said, babe, 8 years ago, I was lending you money to get to auditions. How do you know in 10 years you'll be in a position to direct? Why don't you just take the opportunity? And I was like, I knew I was with you for a reason. And I called them, I said, I'll do it. And they, started having their meetings. Well, it's the first time, do you think you can do it? And then they made me do a pilot, so you do like a mini, not a short film. Right. It's almost like a test. So you shoot scenes, sequentials. There's not even a short film that you could enter. It's like, they go, that portion of the film, we'll just pull out, we want you to shoot that. Right. We want you to cast it, prep it, shoot it, post it, whatever. You pass that, you get your movie. Right. We don't think it's good enough, no movie. Bear in mind, everyone's left me. Director don't want to do it, producer don't want to do it, so I'm like, fine, I'm going to do it. Damien Jones comes on, he's helping out. So I do this test. I do this fucking test, man. Brian Tofano DPs it. I do this test, I cast it, cast Plan B, cast what's his name, and Don Class. And
was this 2006, 2007?
2006.
2006, right.
No, this is 2005, early 6. And then I shoot it, go post, do the post-production, pass the test, they go, finance, you're done, you're finance. And then, again, adulthood was like,
at that point, did you take a breath and think, it's actually quite easy?
No, I didn't. I never did, and this is my problem. I never took a breath. Every time I achieved something, because I'm goal orientated, so every time I did it, I'm like, right, what's next? Every fucker told me, you can't do this, right? You can't write, you can't star and direct in the same film. It's unheard of. People don't do that in this country. When it flops, you only have yourself to blame because you've taken on too much. So I'm like, cool. I'll have a good story to tell my kids one day. Yeah. Daddy made a film once. Daddy made a film once, didn't work, but if you want to watch it, you can. Or I'm going to do what I know I can do. Yeah. And you're all going to eat shit. Yeah. And that's what happened.
They was eating shit.
They was eating shit, brother.
Was it 3.5 mil at the box office?
3.4, yeah.
Which is, I mean, for an independent low budget British film.
On 150 screens.
And what a lot of people don't know watching this, and as an independent filmmaker, I can verify this, independent films, to get over 1 million at the box office, it's a stroke of luck or it's a stroke of genius. And if you look at all the movies that are out there, the superhero movies, the studio movies, they're all spending 10, 15 million
marketing
on the advertised marketing. Our little films have a few $100,000 behind.
A few $100,000 behind, right? Especially back then when everyone was scared.
But for you to be able to achieve that with that
we made 1.2 on the first weekend, 1.2 on the opening weekend. On the Friday night, it come out, Saturday morning, it was #1 in the box office. Saturday morning.
And that's
in front of Incredible Hulk, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and Sex in the City movie, and Adulthood was #1. Right. And all the Americans called up the fucking English agents, were like, what the fuck is this movie? What is it? What are we missing out? What is it? Right. Obviously, it was like a British movie. It didn't really fit their market. But at the time, they didn't know what the fuck it was.
Did Adulthood it went out in America, didn't it?
No.
I didn't. No. I'd have thought somebody would have had a go.
No. No, it was before the interest. Right. It's like not like now, these rappers here. Like I went to Canada in the summer, and my Canadian cousins and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, what music you into? Like they're like Central C.
Oh, yeah. UK rap is big around the world now.
I'm like, I wasn't shocked because he's brilliant, right? But I was like, the world's changed. Like Central C's big in Canada, right? When Kidulthood and Adulthood were getting made, they weren't used to British culture like that. So it wasn't
like it was like you have that little rap thing in England, and we'll have our big rap thing over here. Yeah. But the UK rap now, it's like we've stolen the American rap.
Yeah, I know.
Made it our own, and that's what I love about it.
Well, it's our own thing, and it's traveling. It travels now, which is good. Australia, Canada, it's good. So big up, and then Adulthood was massive, and then that was it. Just went from there, and then not long after we done.
So we met
after Adulthood come out.
After Adulthood come out, and obviously we met at the audition. That's the first time we met, and then obviously you got the part in Doghouse.
Yeah.
And I think that actual experience, I always remember. It was in a disused mental home.
Yeah, mate. I was scared fucking shitless, mate. Every night.
Everyone said it was haunted, right?
I'm telling you, I swear I saw Obi-Wan Kenobi walking one night. I used to run to my room like down that hallway.
No.
Mate, honestly.
And then you had somebody the other side going, come to the dark side. And you're like, I don't know, go left or go right.
Honestly, when it got nighttime there in there, mate, them hallways, man.
Well, it was weird. Like, I know this sounds really bad, but the there was no toilets. It was like an old sink that you had to use.
Yeah.
And it was literally like a mattress on a floor.
Yep.
And I'm sure there was bugs in there. I mean, it was like absolutely, it was literally
And
like,
we shot the whole film there. We were there for like 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
we moved into a disused mental asylum where people probably died in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was...
Well, Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi died in there.
He did.
Yeah. And the guy that played Dracula. When I heard that, I was like, mate, the last thing I want to see is Obi-Wan Kenobi's ghost fighting fucking Dracula and then spot me. I would run out that fucking place. I'd run so far.
Yeah. But that was, I mean, we had a good laugh doing that film. And, you know, again, I think whenever you have a chance to go away somewhere for 4 or 5 weeks with people you don't know, you get a bond. And, you know, I think out of all the people on that film, we definitely
we did,
gelled.
yeah.
We had a laugh.
Gelled, yeah.
And I remember you just had your first baby.
That's right.
And your missus would come down on the weekends to see you. And
With the little one, yeah.
And I always remember, and you know, I always sort of judge people on, you know, how they sort of behave and how they interact with me, you know. And at the time,
you were still quite new, weren't you?
Well, yeah, I've been in the business like 3 or 4 years. You know, I was really green behind the ears, really. And we got on, and I always remember my daughter come on the set, and I think we did something on the set, you know, and all the rest of it. And then she was turning 16.
Yeah.
And she had a birthday thing in Southampton. I remember her saying to me, Dad, it was so cool meeting Noel, you know. It was so
come
cool.
down?
And I think you come out with a cake, you made a fuss of her. And I actually thought at the time, I've only met this guy for a few weeks, right? And we ain't mates, but we have become mates. And I just thought, he didn't need to do all that, but you know, she appreciated that. And then when she said to me, Dad, I'm doing this birthday thing, you know, would you be able to bring Noel down? And I remember we finished filming. We'd obviously had our transgender moment where we dressed up as women to escape from the Zombirds.
Yeah, Zombirds.
If you know what a Zombird is, you've got to watch
Doghouse.
You've got to watch Doghouse, right? I remember literally ringing you up and saying, Noel, look, you can tell me to fuck off if you want, but it's my daughter's 16th birthday.
You come down?
Would you come down to Southampton? Yeah, it really meant a lot to her. And you went, absolutely. And I said, look, I'll pick you up. We're going to have something to eat. And you said to me, yeah, all right, sweet.
I brought that little rat with me, didn't I?
Your BF at the time.
Yeah, my fucking rat bag.
And I remember picking up your friend and you.
Say his name, rat bag.
No. Adam Deacon.
Fucking
Noel
rat bag,
Clarke.
yeah.
We went to a Chinese restaurant. We're having this great Chinese meal. And you said, and I don't know if you'd co-written it with him or he'd written it and you was trying to do it together, but you was talking about doing a spoof hood movie.
Yeah.
And I remember like going, oh, you know, we should do something, whatever.
That's right.
We went down to my daughter's birthday and you and Adam turned up. And I remember saying to you at the time, I don't even know who Adam Deacon is. And you went, he's in fucking Kidulthood. And I was like, oh, right, okay. But I didn't, I think because I watched Kidulthood as a movie, just like I watched Ryan Reynolds' movie, and I didn't really get into like people being my favourite actors. Like, if you'd have said to me who's my favourite actor, I'd have said like Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Denzel Washington. But obviously, if I, you know, I didn't know who Adam Deacon was really, other than he'd been in one of your films. Yeah. But then when we walked in, she was like, "Oh my God, you brought Adam Deacon! Oh my God, you brought Noel Clarke! Oh my God, oh my God!" And I remember all her friends were like, "Oh my fucking God!" Right? And you guys were on the mic. He was jumping about. Yeah. I mean, it made her birthday. And I remember driving you guys home, and I just thought, you know what? These guys have done this for me as a favour, and I felt like I owed you both. Yeah. Right? And then that was the point when I said to him, listen, help my mate out with some films. And people don't know this. They think that I put him in stuff, but I put him on. Like I introduced him to you and loads of people, and you gave him like eight, 9 jobs probably. You gave me, you introduced me at the time we were going to do it together. And then I don't know what happened between you and him, but I know there was something happened. And then it was like, I'm not going to do this with Noel, or you said I'm not going to do something with him. I can't remember the.
No, it was because I was helping him. I was helping him do the film. As I always said to him, I'm always going to help you, mate. I was helping him, but he didn't like how long I was taking.
Right.
And I wasn't taking long on purpose. I was doing it properly.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? This is I was dealing with Universal and all that, so studios take long. Right. And he got so frustrated, he went and signed a contract with Revolver and just cut me out.
Right.
That's how all the fallout happened. And I'm like,
right.
I said, how the fuck are you going to cut me out? I've been helping you.
So I tell you what happened.
And then
right?
he come to you.
No, I'll tell you what happened. We were talking about it. You and him, as far as I was aware, we were going to do it together.
Yeah.
And then he went and spoke to Revolver.
Yep, cut me out.
And then I'd already done a film with Revolver called Shank.
Yeah, that's right.
And they said, we want to do this film with Adam Deacon, and we're going to call it Anotherhood, right? And at the time, it was like, I said, what's happening with Noel? Is he involved? Is he going to get a producer credit? Is he in the movie? What's happening? Yeah. And then I don't know whether you said, fuck you, I'm not doing it, or he said, there was something that went on, but as I wasn't involved in them conversations. And I remember doing the film, and I remember, like, at the time, Adam was sort of, as I said, I don't think you'd properly fallen out then, right? When we was actually going into production on the film, I think you're still talking, but obviously you'd sort of decided not to be involved for whatever.
Yeah, I just was like, if you're gonna cut the person out that's helped you so many times over the years and was even helping you, if you're gonna cut me out, then this is what you said earlier. You just go, cool.
Right.
Just go, cool.
But to demonstrate, the behaviour, he said to me, I'm sick of playing these roles. I want to do some other roles. And I said, well, I'm doing a film called Bonded by Blood. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I put him in a couple of other movies.
That's right. Outside bit.
Playing different roles, so that he could do some different things. And I always remember, I think I put him in, it was either 2 or 3 movies, and then Anotherhood had been finished, and then Revolver was like, I think we've got something good here, we're going to get behind it, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then I remember the film come out, and then we had a film going into production, I think in October, and Universal were involved in it. And literally, he was going to be in it, right? And he said, I actually remember he'd moved agents, and I rang the agent, and it was this idiot, right? I won't mention his name, but I rang him up and I said, I just want to wrap up this deal because we're going to film this in 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, he ain't doing it.
Well, he wants 100 grand. And I said, where'd you get that figure from? I said, he goes, that's what he wants. I said, we ain't going to get it. I said, we're making low budget films here, mate, right? Well, that's what he wants. He's Bafta nominated now. I said, mate, who the fuck do you think got the film going? Put half the money up. I said, I've got all my
literally financed this fucking movie.
So I said, and I've actually helped him. I've given him opportunities. Yeah. So he might be Bafta nominated. He may win a Bafta, right? But he needs to fucking do the right thing here. Well, that's what it is. So I phoned him up and I said, what's going on? And he went, he goes, it's not me, it's the agent. I went, do you know what? Whatever. Do you know what I mean? And then, like you, just went like that, right? Yeah. And then the film came out, got Bafta nominated, and he won. And I remember watching the BAFTAs on TV, and I remember him getting his BAFTA and going, yeah, well, oh, look, Brad Pitt's over there, hello, Brad. And I was looking at him and I was thinking, you should be on a stage thanking the investors, thanking you, thanking me, thanking people that
put you on,
helped him get to that point. No. But he didn't. And I always thought, do you know something? I'm not a fucking child. I don't need you to tell me you love me. But, even if you hadn't mentioned me and he hadn't mentioned you, but he'd have said thanks to the investors or thanks to whoever, but he didn't do that. And I just thought, that's really bad behaviour. And then I think it was a year or 2 after that, then obviously you had all the stuff.
Started stalking, harassing me, yeah.
But I remember, like, people were saying, like, people reached out to me going, oh, Noel's stopping him getting work. And I was like,
bullshit.
Noel's not stopping him getting work. And I said, what? I said, I'm sure Noel's busy enough doing his own shit.
100%.
Right? And I said, he's just paranoid, right?
100%.
And literally, the reason I stopped working with him wasn't because I'd fell out of him. I just thought that, I've given you all these opportunities. You basically kicked me in the nuts and told me to fuck off.
100%.
So at that point, I was just like, okay, well, you crack on. Don't expect me
100%.
to give you any more.
That's just the behaviour. But the thing is, I ignored it because there used to be this old phrase of like, a lion doesn't care for the opinion of sheep. So all that thing when he's like, this guy's blocking me. I weren't blocking him, man. I was raising kids. I'm doing films. You think I got fucking time to go get an audition with fucking Nina Gold if I was even lucky? And as I leave Nina Gold's office, go, oh, by the way, Nina, don't work with fucking like they'll laugh. Firstly, they'll laugh you out of the office. Right. They'll never fucking see you again. And they'll call your agent and go, do you know what he's been saying? So it was bullshit from the start. But I ignored it because I thought I'm just doing my thing. But when you ignore the bullshit, it fucking permeates and people start believing it. And when they buy into that shit and then the person's career starts doing that, they go, well done, but he's brilliant. How come he must be telling the truth?
But I think, and this is just an outsider looking in, I think what happened was obviously Anotherhood was a massive success. I think it did 2.something million at the box office. It was only a little 600 grand movie. Revolver went out of business after that film, probably about 7 or 8 months after that film was released. Literally, that obviously, was really bad. I mean, because Revolver at the time was one of the best distributors. They distributed some great movies, but for whatever reason, they went out of business. And then I think he obviously thought, well, I've got a Bafta now. I know he went out to LA and he obviously got this big fancy agent and he obviously thought he was going to Hollywood. And when it didn't happen, again, I think people always want to
blame someone.
Look to blame someone.
Yeah.
And for him, it's easy to go, who have I fell out with? Well, Terry's not using me anymore. No one introduced me to Terry. Maybe Noel told Terry
100%.
not to book him. But the reality is, nobody in life, right, unless you're really deeply involved in business with them, would actually even listen to that shit. They just go,
you can't tell me not to hire no one. If you got a problem with him, you got a problem with him.
It's like you doing your movie and someone going, oh, don't put him in it. You'd be like, mate, fuck off.
Yeah,
I'm doing my
100%.
movie. Don't tell me how to
100%.
direct or cast my film.
But he just believed all of that shit, and I just, I ain't gonna spend my time talking about him. As I said, he's a fucking rat bag, right? So
but there's nothing to discuss about him. But I remember, and again, a lot of the, people forget this, but there was.
But he's done it again. He's got his film again. Again, taking the brand and fucking, like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, make your own fucking thing. Do you know what I mean?
But I think what he was doing when he was, I know he blamed it on mental health and he blamed it on different things. But I mean, he was basically asking people to attack you in the street and go in your house and things.
Asking
like that.
people to fucking kill my kids.
And I remember you rang me and you said, I can't deal with this guy anymore.
Yeah.
And I actually said, you know what I said.
Yeah.
But I genuinely thought, this guy's giving you everything, right? And because you've basically treated him badly and he's not giving you anything anymore and your career hasn't gone the way you want, you're blaming him.
100%.
It's nothing to fucking do with him.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? But, look.
But he's like a little Pied Piper. So he's got all these little houseboys running behind him. And when they say this happened, when he's manipulated, so when he says something happens, they believe it. But again, it's easy to believe when you go, oh, look at him. What is he, 5'1"? It's easy to believe when you go look at him and you look at me and my personality and all that, and then people go, right, but it must be true. It's easy to believe things about me. Like when this other shit come out, I know we ain't talking about that. When other shit come out, it's easy for people to straight away believe it because they've been hearing that sort of narrative of like, oh, he's aggressive, he's this, he's that. I'm a fucking survivor, mate. When I grew up and killers were telling me, let's go do this, and you had to say, I ain't doing that. You had to look them in the eye and say, I ain't doing that. Right. You had to make them think, do I want to make him do it? Do I want to risk making him do it? Do you know what I mean? You have to make them sort of think, oh, I don't know about this guy. So when they go, let's do it, you go, I'm not doing that.
But I genuinely think, for anybody watching this that knows the history, you did nothing but help his career.
Nothing but help him.
And you didn't end his career. And I don't care.
I'm not even going to read his text message. I've got more messages of apology and all that kind of shit. Because there were times when he would know and he would message me talking about, you've done so much for me and all that. I've still got them on my phone, or I've still got them. I read one on another podcast. I ain't going to do that again. But the thing is, it's like, I know the truth. And deep down, he knows the truth. And he knows what he said about my kids. He knows what he said about my wife, my mum, and all that kind of shit.
But for me, genuinely, and I think in life, if bridges are burnt for whatever reason, you can rebuild those bridges. And I genuinely think, you know, if look, he's done this new film. It's going to be a success. He's obviously cracking.
Because it's my brand, yeah.
But he's cracking on doing whatever he's doing. But what he should do, and this is my opinion, right? So, you know, it might not be worth anything, but I do think he should literally, if I was him, I'd be like, no, let's put the past behind us. I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean?
He's never apologised.
No, but what I'm saying is, if he was a man, he would. Right?
He ain't a man.
But he should.
He should.
And that's my opinion.
He should. But he ain't a man, and he's never apologised. I think, to your point about, I think anyone you fall out with in life, life's too short, man. Like you fucking can get on and you can build bridges and go, look, do you know what? This happened. It was in the past. Let's crack on. But not only, firstly, he threatened to kill my children. That's a different level.
Yeah.
He didn't burn the bridge. He nuked the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Right.
He blew it up.
And then he was very intricately involved in what happened to me recently.
Right.
And I'm like, you just don't do that to people.
No.
You just don't do that to people.
But the obviously we've talked about But
Doghouse was a good time.
But Doghouse was fun, right?
Yeah.
And look, so there's
apart from that girl that said I was smooching her every day, but you were there, weren't you?
Well, do you know, this will make you laugh. This will make you laugh, right? So, and this is a true story, right? I remember me and Noel, obviously, we were working on that film together, and we were the only ones really that were sensible, right? That went to bed, woke up in the morning, did whatever we did, went to bed, and it was like a routine. And then on the weekend, obviously, your wife come down with your baby, and I always used to laugh because you're the baby going, and I'd think, fucking hell, he's got all these lines to learn. He's probably sitting there learning his lines. The baby's screaming. He's like, for fuck's sake. Yeah. And I just thought, I've got to take me out of you. But you held it together. And I remember when there was a rap party and your wife come and my wife come. And obviously we'd been in this like mental asylum for 5 weeks.
Mental ourselves.
Or 6 weeks, however long it was. And I remember like, I don't know if it was a makeup girl or the wardrobe girl, but one of the girls that was working on the film was drunk, and she come.
A lot of the girls that were working on the film were drunk that day.
But she actually went up to my wife, and I'm pretty sure your wife was standing next to my wife and they were talking, and she went, "You two are really lucky," and my wife was like, "Why?" And she said, "Oh, they went to bed early." But as I'm walking over, I see my wife, and you know when your wife has got that look,
like what you been up to,
and,
mate?
and you're like looking at her, and you're thinking, I'm in trouble here, but I've done nothing wrong. And then when the girl walked off, she was like, "What the fuck's been going on here?" Blah blah blah.
Like, what?
And I was like, "What?" And she goes, "She told me that there was people having prostitutes in rooms." Right? I said, "I was in fucking bed." She said, "I know." She said she told me that you and Noel were the only good ones there, and I laughed about it, and I was just like, "Fucking hell."
It is funny. And one of the producers, I won't say his name because I don't know if he wants me to, but one of the producers met me not too long ago, and he said, "We didn't like you on the film at the time." He said, "We like you now, but at the time," I said, "Why?" He said, "Because we didn't trust you." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because you were the only one that would go to work, and after work you wouldn't come out for a pint. You wouldn't come out on the last. You would just go to bed." And I'm like, and he said, "But everyone else was having and we didn't trust you." And I said, "Well," and the irony of me sitting here. Do you know what I mean? The irony. In fact, I remember, and this girl still speaks to me actually. She's a mate. I remember there was a girl one of the Zombies was so drunk, and she was like falling all over. And I remember she was like, and you could see all the fellas like circling, and I grabbed her, put her arm around my shoulder, I walked her up to her room, and I put her in bed, and she's like that on the bed, and I just put the blanket and I left, and she still speaks to me to this day. Right. To this day, even after everything, she talks to me and she goes, "I know what they said was bullshit, because I remember that day when I was absolutely ratted, and you took me up to my room, put me to bed and left." And she goes, "Just that." And they'll all say, "Well, just because he didn't kill you doesn't mean he's not a murderer." But she's like, "Just because of that, I fucking know." And I'm like, well
as I said, when all the stuff come out, you probably remember I rang you and I was like, "This is fucking mad." And I actually was like, mad, and I can only speak as I find, and I've known you for, as I said, 16 years, and I've never seen any bad behaviour. Right, I've seen you like fucking lose your rag, and I've seen you being like this is how we got to fucking do it. And at the end of the day, mate, like if you work with anybody that's successful or that's driven, you know, people don't tolerate fucking fools. You know what I mean? If you're like, we're doing this, we're doing that, someone's fucking about, you put them up and go, listen. And then people going, oh, he's so aggressive. But it's like, no, I'm not aggressive. I actually want to fucking get this done.
I want to get it done. Because if it don't get done, it's on me.
Exactly. And
it ain't on Bob the costume guy, it's on fucking me.
And what people don't understand is if you make a low budget film and you've only got a limited amount of funds and you've only got a limited amount of time, it's like being in a fucking pressure cooker.
Yeah, you ain't got pickup days. You ain't got pickup. You got one pickup day. You ain't got a week.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So when everyone's like fucking about, and obviously you get people. I've had it on. Yeah, we've had 5 people on films before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they've not done their job, or they've not performed, or they've said they can do this but they can't. And unfortunately, you know, when you've got, unless you've got a studio and you're making big budget films, you've got massive. You can just write as many checks as you want.
Yeah, exactly.
You can employ the best people. Then it's not as pressure. It's still pressure, but it's not as much. But when you're on that little, it's 4 or 5 weeks, got to get it out, got to do it. Everyone's got to fucking get on the stage and deliver. Everyone's got to know their lines. And, you know, because you're disciplined and you write, act and direct and produce, you understand it probably better than anybody.
Yeah, you understand the 360. But also what it does do is, like, there's an actor, like really big actor now, a really big actor, who held a grudge against me for years and I didn't know.
Right.
And it basically turned out that they auditioned for something in 2007 and they got down to the last 2 and then they didn't get the job because I give it to Arnold Oaching.
Right.
Right. And what I realized about the grudge was, because I loved this guy, I loved him, right? I didn't know him, but I knew Arnold. So when it come down to the last 2, I was like, do I go with the guy I don't know that I've seen but I like, or I go with the guy I know? And I was like, I'm directing my first movie, I go with the guy I know, right? And that was it. Years later, I realized this guy had a real problem with me. And what I realized is it weren't just about the grudge. It's about, if you audition for a thing and you just meet a random director, and you don't get the job, you go home, you don't think about it, you never see that director again, most likely.
Right.
But when the director's also an actor and the star and the writer and all that kind of stuff, when you go in and you don't get that job, then you have a constant reminder, because that guy's also the star, of like, yeah, that's the guy that I didn't get the job from. And it builds up and builds up.
Yourself mad over nothing.
But it built up. This person had a grudge against me. I didn't find out for like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 5 years later, when I found out that they had a grudge against me because they didn't get the job. And I'm like, how many jobs have they been to as an actor and not got the job? Do they hold grudges against all them directors? No, they don't. But I'm so visible. I was so visible.
Right.
It's like you can blame because you see. Whereas that director that didn't give you the other job, you ain't seeing them again.
Well, I think also with actors, yeah, 95% of all actors are unemployed. And I think when actors don't get a job, they're obviously not happy, right?
I never give a fuck.
And normally what happens is they can go, fucking casting director, or that I went to that audition and there was just a camera on with, and it wasn't even a cast director, it was just some girl or some guy.
Someone to blame.
Just mumbling the lines, didn't really give me any feedback. Oh, the producer didn't like me, the director didn't like me.
Someone to blame.
And it's literally, who can I blame? And obviously, like you said, because you're doing everything.
So out there, yeah.
You're doing everything.
Yeah.
It's like,
it was easy to just
You
stick.
can't even say, well, sorry, it's Universal,
No.
it's the producer, it's you.
Yeah.
So you're the one who's
you get the blame, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Someone to blame, which is annoying, but that's what happens, you know. And I think that happened to me a few times. And what was, you know, when we had the company, I say to Jay, like when we had the company, it was always the same thing. I understood that anything in the company that went well, like Bulletproof come out and goes well, Noel's company, blah, blah, blah. But consequently, anyone we ever fired, right, anyone we ever disciplined, any show we turned down, anything that we do that people didn't like, it was always on me. Right. Even if I didn't make the decision, because we had a team of people, we had like five employees and 3 satellite employees, like, you know, but it would always be like, you know, they're sitting at home angry to their wife. They don't go, oh yeah, that Sally from such and such turned down my film. They just go, yeah, fucking Unstoppable turned down my project. That fucking Noel Clarke. Like, do you know what I mean? Right. You're always gonna be, but that's that 5-year-old kid with that energy.
Yeah. I mean, so obviously we went on and talked about lots of different things here, but if we go back to, obviously after Adult had come out, and you directed it, massive success.
Massive, yeah.
We obviously did Doghouse together.
Yeah.
And then
4, 3, 2, 1. I've done
and then
done a million.
I remember you did 4, 3, 2, 1, and you did some other bits. But sort of what happened after that? Because I know when we spoke,
Fast Girls, 2012.
You were talking about television? I remember you talking about it, but how did you go from, obviously, you know, doing these movies like Fast Girls and 4321? When did you actually start the television? Was that 2015 or was that?
Yeah, started thinking about it earlier because I don't know when Netflix started launching. I don't remember, but I know when that started launching, everyone was like, I remember, it's so weird because I remember having a conversation. Someone's like, this thing's never going to work. All they're doing is licensing old films like Terminator 8 and Robocop 7 and all this thing. It's never going to work. It'll be dead in 10 years. Blockbuster will be back. And I kept thinking to myself, but imagine if they made their own stuff.
Right.
Just thought, imagine if, and then one day I remember reading the thing, Netflix had decided to make original content. And I thought everyone's fucked. I thought everybody's fucked because if, at the moment, everyone's living off them because they're licensing this, that, and the other. I'm like, if they start making their own shit, they don't need anyone else. Right? And so I started thinking, I would get some TV on. And to this day, I've never had nothing on Netflix, but that I've made. But I started thinking about TV, and then I remembered that Ashley and I, in 2009, had created this TV show, right? I had created this idea, right? And this 6-page document that we had, and you know, we didn't know what we wanted it to be, whether it could be a film, whether it be a TV show. Right. So, you know, we worked with people, like we had iterations of what it became, and things never went anywhere. And then I remember I was just pitching. I had people tell me like, nah, this is never gonna work with 2 black people. And I've said that a million times, whatever. And I remember meeting Vertigo and telling them about the idea. And they said, what you got? I said, I got this document, 6-page document. So give them this 6-page document. And they went, we love this. We want to make this into a show. And I'm like, yeah, well, it can be a fucking show. And so we want to team you up with Nick Love. You, Ashley, Nick Love. No, they're like, no one's going to say no to that. We go to Sky, whatever like that. And this is like 2016, not long after Brotherhood. Because after Brotherhood, which I'll get onto that in a second, after Brotherhood, everyone was like, oh, okay. He's still here. Still got the clout. Do you know what I mean? And then it went from there, and Bulletproof just went through the process. And
how long did it take though? So 2009 was when you had the idea. You started pitching it, but
I think I found an email where we sent some people the 6-page document, maybe 2008, 2009, yeah.
Wow. And then when was the first episode? Was it 2019?
We started shooting in 2017.
So that's 8 years in the making. You know, people don't realise how long.
Started shooting in 2017, first season come out 2018. Right. Do you know what I mean? But Brotherhood, so after adulthood, I'd done a bunch of like Fast Girls, 451. Nothing was really hitting. And it was intentionally, not intentionally that they weren't successful, but it was intentional that I was doing different things because I wanted to take the audience.
Do you know something though, Noel? I did exactly the same thing. I got to the point where you've done a lot of crime stuff. I did a lot of these sort of hood movies, and I thought, I can't just keep doing fucking crime films and hood movies. And that was a mistake because I think it's, you know, there's that old saying about standing your lane.
Yeah.
And I think if you're good at something, right, you just have to focus on that.
What happened was when I started making these sci-fis and all this kind of stuff, the audience didn't come.
Right.
I mean, they were making like 200, 300 grand opening weekend.
What are you trying to tap into though? And this was like us. You're trying to tap into a new audience, a new market, a new genre. And I think what happens with that, you can get lucky. Right, and just go boom, and all of a sudden it's like, fuck me, this guy's such a talent. But then also, the people that love your shit ain't gonna watch that.
That's what happened. So basically, I was trying to do all this new stuff, but I would get stopped in the street, you know, like because my audiences are very similar. I get stopped, you know, real fucking people, van drivers, delivery men, like people that work in restaurants, you know, that say, mate, I fucking love your stuff. When I get home after a long day at work and I sit on the couch, I just love to see you cracking heads and doing it. And I'd be like, what's this last one with the sci-fi and all that? I said, when I come home, I don't want to see that. Right. I don't want to see you fighting aliens. I want to see you knocking some guy out. And what I realized is after a while is you don't have to try and get a new audience. You have to let this audience grow with you.
Absolutely.
And what I did was I went, mate, you guys are brilliant now. Watch me in this sci-fi. And some of them come, but a lot of them were like, I don't want to see that. Right. So then I was like, so I thought, I'm going to do Brotherhood. So I sat down, wrote Brotherhood. I said to Jason, listen, I'm writing Brotherhood. Mate.
So how did you and Jason's relationship come about? Because
So after 4321, he came to the premiere of 4321.
Right.
He was the same guy that got me into the business. Ricky got him into the business. And then...
Who's Ricky?
Ricky Beadle Blair.
Oh, sorry, Ricky, of course.
And then in 2000 and 11, was doing this rom-com called The Knot.
Right.
That my mate Jeff come up with in college, but we'd written the script. Me, Jeff, and another guy, 3 of us written the script, and we needed some money, and Jason come with the money.
Right.
And that's how that. So that was 2011. Then he had his own production company, and I had my own production company. Right. So I did Storage, Anomaly. He did Hooligan Factory.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was like, this guy, man. I was like, this guy. All the weaknesses I have, like budgeting and sort of like. The sort of like, hi mate, like this sort of, I don't want to say schmoozing, but the niceties. Right. I said, he's fucking good at that. But I can open any door. Right. I can call anyone, I can open any door. People are like, you know what I mean? And I was like, let's work together. And he was like, nah, mate, man, I've got my own thing. I said, come on, man, let's work together. Like, nah. I kept pestering him. And eventually he's like, all right, let's do it. And I said, I ain't gonna fuck about. I'll give you half the company. We're gonna be partners, but you're gonna bust your ass and we're gonna do it. And he was like, cool, I'm in. And we done it. And I don't give a fuck what they done. I do give a fuck what they done, but you see what they done to me, you see what they done to him, you see what they done to us, but we did it. Yeah. We did it. Do you know what I mean? And at the time they smashed us, we had 3 greenlit TV shows, 2 greenlit movies, I had a kids book, I had a novel deal. Like, the next 5 years, we would have fucking took over this whole fucking thing. Yeah. And I don't mean like we're an iron fist, like, but we was flying. Right. We were flying. We done it. Like
we were trying to do a project together.
We were going to do one together. King of Clubs. We were going to do. Yeah. We were. You know, we were flying. So that's how our relationship come together. But then I did Brotherhood. I said, I'm writing Brotherhood. He said, cool. And I remember going to Universal and they were like, yeah. And then Lionsgate said, we'll have that. And they said, we believe in it. We'll give you $550 for the UK alone. So once they $550 for the UK alone, with my private investor that I had, that was it. Done. Right. So then. I remember the head of Lionsgate at the time said to me, look, I just want to manage your expectations. He said, it's 8 years after the last one. Right. There's Netflix, there's Amazon, there's all these things. Said, it's not going to be as successful, but that's just don't be upset by that. That's just the nature of the business. He said, so if we get 1.2 total, that is the equivalent of the 3.4 that you got 8 years ago. Because now there's so many distractions. Brotherhood did like 3.6. Right. So I said to him, what's that, 7, is it? Is that 7, yeah? In the equivalent.
Should have asked you for more money.
I did 3.6, mate. Smashed all of them. Smashed all of them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I remember getting that results the next day. And that's the first time, you know, you said every time, did you ever take a breath? I never took a breath. I'm always like, go. But for me, that was like, you're coming back to this after you said you wouldn't do it. If it don't work, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. That was the first time I was like, and then that Monday morning, 1.3, I was like, mate, we're flying.
Your character that was in these films, was he based on a real person or was he?
Based on a few people I knew as I was growing up, yeah.
Because a lot of people that don't live in the hood or don't understand the hood, it'd be good to talk a little bit about, you know, what goes on because, you know, again, we had a guest on the other day who was talking and basically said, from the late 90s, firearms, knives become the standard thing that people would just have. And I had a Glock 17. Yeah. And it was actually quite funny because, well, it wasn't funny, but I literally had it in my house in a safe. And when that fucking shit happened with that dumb blame, that nutter run around with a shotgun shooting people, I don't know if you know this, but they literally went, nobody is allowed to have.
But that's the best thing they ever done. It's the best thing they ever done. Because this country, I wouldn't want it to be like America. We got to worry about your kids' school getting shot up and all that stuff.
Well, that is scary.
So it's the best thing they ever done.
But the thing is, the rigmarole you had to go through to get that license. You couldn't just like walk in and go.
No, yeah, I remember.
You know, it was hard.
I remember.
It was hard.
I remember. Yeah.
But I remember, like, literally, the police rang up and said, "Oh, we're going to come and take your gun away." And I was like, "What?" And they was like, "Yeah, well, the dumb blame thing, you know."
No, it's the best thing the police ever did. Yeah. But I knew people that used to drill guns and all that shit. That's why that was.
Because they get the deactivated ones and they recommission.
That's why it was in the film. Like when Trife had to drill the gun and all that kind of stuff, and you know, make a shit sort of commissioned thing. So, you know, there were people with knives. A lot of my friends got stabbed. A lot of people I know, a couple people I know got shot. It wasn't prevalent, but a couple of people I know got shot. A friend of mine stepped on someone's trainers in a club, got shot in the neck. That was that.
Well, in the old days, I remember, like, if you trod on someone's foot, you'd say, "I'm sorry." But, I think some
people didn't care. They didn't care if you were sorry.
You trod on someone's foot and you know, you trod on the wrong person's foot. I mean, there was a story, I don't know if you remember this, at the Colosseum, where there was an incident and there was an altercation, and they went outside, and the guy got shot, and they fucking put him in a wheelie bin outside the club.
Fucking
left him there, and he's dead.
Yeah.
And then I think when the not the removal people, the dustbin people come around, they found this fucking body in the thing. I mean, it was the 90s. I think
it's horrible. As I said, a guy I knew got shot, man. Like, stepped on someone's trainers and got shot, and like a lot of my friends, people I knew, got stabbed and stuff like that. And I nearly got stabbed. I got a flathead Phillips head screwdriver one time. Someone tried to rob my chain, but that's so minor compared to what people get. And then I got chased by a bunch of Filipinos with machetes trying to stab me up outside Hippodrome, Leicester Square.
Fucking hell.
About 20 of them. Like, and we just had to.
Was that over anything, or was you just walking down?
I got that energy, mate. I was in the club, and I knew some of the girls.
That was a great club as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I knew some of the girls because they went to my college. Right. So I knew some of the girls. I was chatting to some of the girls, and they must have been thinking, "Who's this monkey chatting to our girls or whatever like that?" And a lot of them were from East and didn't know me.
Right.
The West boys knew me because they went to college with me, and I was chatting to some of the girls from my college from St Charles, and I guess the East boys didn't know me, and you know what it's like. They're all with their mates.
Right.
I'm just with 4 of my mates. There's like 50, 60 of them. They're all together from East, and they just decided. And I remember clearly. I remember how they did it as well. It was quite smart. More intelligence than I gave them credit for. Right. But one of them come talk to me like you, like, what are you saying, brother? Like, what, looking at me? So I'm thinking, fucking this guy looking at. And as he's talking to me there, he's not doing anything, but he's twitching a little bit. And another one running from the side and headbutt me in the mouth, bang, like that. And I'm like, you're smart, man, smart. And then suddenly, once you get hit back in the mouth and you see 1, 2, then you see 3, 4, 5, you see them all.
Right, and it's time to make a fast
exit.
No,
then the bouncer's like going, I don't give a fuck. I said, mate, you see what they're doing? He goes, get out, just get out. I don't give a fuck. So the bouncer just literally turfed me out, and then they all just come out. And there's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then there's 20, and they're all just standing there watching. And I'm with me and my two mates standing there. And there's just 3 of us, and there's like 20 of them. And they're thinking, and they're talking about it. And they're starting to put, you see in the machetes, and but they're like, it's almost like some of them are going, nah, and others are like, yeah. And they're talking about it, and they're there. And then my mate from West, one of the West boys, he tries to talk to them. You can see him talking to them like, fucking hell. And then he comes up to me, and he goes, bro, run. Mate,
that was the best fucking.
Yeah, because he basically was like, I can't stop them. So he just came and said, it's almost like he said to them, no, I'll go chat to him. But when he got to me, he was like, just went quietly. He goes, run. And we fucking turned and ran, and they just come after us. And they pulled out the machetes and they come after us.
I bet you're glad you go to the fucking gym.
Mate, we ran. The funny thing is though, it's always interesting. It's always interesting, this stuff. Because the funny thing is 2 of them caught my mate. So they all ran and we all ran, but one of my mates went a different way. We all said as we were running, we're like, meet at John Lewis on Oxford Street, whatever, but we fucking scattered, right? 2 of them caught my mate and didn't do fuck all.
Right.
Because only 2 of them. They got there and he was like, all right, cool, what? And then they were like, and they didn't do nothing. But then you start getting into that thing of like, maybe I shouldn't have fucking run. But then you should have.
Do you know, Sam, one of my good pals.
But by the way, sorry, I went to see him the next day.
Right.
I told my girl, like, you fucking call them fucking. And I said, any of you want it tomorrow, let's have it. Come down Oxford Street again. And I went the next day. I think about it now, I had them like earmuffs thing, a cigar behind my ear, I don't know what it was, the leather jacket. And I went there the next day, I said, and one of them sat down in Burger King like that, opposite each other. I said, what the fuck you doing? And we had a chat and then we were cool.
Right.
But I could have been dead the night before.
But one of my good friends who's, he does, Krav Maga.
Yeah.
And he actually said, once you've got more than one or 2.
You've got to run.
You get, even people that are in the special forces, there is no...
Don't let the ego get the better of you.
It's better to run away.
Run.
And save it for another day.
Yeah,
and
run.
do what you've done. Go back, you know what I mean?
Oh, mate, yeah.
I mean, if there's no way out, you have to fight, right? But if there's a way out, because you don't know what these people are carrying.
I knew what they were carrying.
And
I see what they was carrying.
If you do know what they're carrying, right, they may not use it, but then you think, well, they're carrying it, so they may use it.
I think they would have, because the egos...
Why would you want to put yourself in that position?
The egos when they're all together, do you know what I mean? I think... So, and I know they had done it before, because I know people that it happened to, do you know what I mean? Right. So we just ran, I just ran. And then as I said, the next day I met one of them, only one of them come, and he sat down there, just had a chat. And he was like, nah, bro, but we didn't know, bro. And I think we'd get on, you know. I said, well, we don't get on.
Right.
So
not going out for dinner anytime soon.
yeah, we're not going to be mates, but I know them girls from college, so how are you going to, brother, yeah, but that, you know, and then it was cool after that.
Right.
It was cool after that.
What other scraps have you got into? Have you had any other ones like that, or was that one of the sort of most serious ones?
I've run from shots a few times.
Right.
I've run from people in carnival trying to get me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And then just standing having a fight with a couple of people here and there, but...
I mean, it's actually quite funny because every year people always used to say to me, oh, let's go to Carnival. The Carnival's great, blah, blah. And at the time I was running One Nation Caravans, I was doing like 20 events a month, some things. And obviously back then it was like the Wild West. So you'd regularly be like fighting people, clumping people, like kicking it. Things would kick off.
I never really got into fights in Carnival. I've had scraps with people like just in and around, but I've never got into things in Carnival because Carnival was sort of that was my area.
But the thing is, I was talking about the events.
Yeah.
And then people were going, let's go to Carnival. And I'm going, I'm not going to Carnival because I'm going to see so many people that egg with. Because obviously North London, East London, South London, West London, Nottingham, and everyone just comes down to London. So you thought,
100%.
You know, you're going to be wandering about.
That's where the trouble is,
All of a sudden they go, that's that fella. Fucking.
But yeah, I wasn't in loads of like big scraps and all that. And I remember as I started getting, you know, I told the story before, but I remember as I started getting them older and my friends would be like, nah, you're something about you. I remember there was one time like this guy wouldn't move out my cousin's house. He's like, I ain't moving out, you ain't gonna do fucking shit, man, I'll cut all of you, whatever like that. So my cousin was like, let's go. So we all got in the car, we fucking rolled up to this place. We're like, he's getting out, he's moving out today.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So we got there and then my cousin was like, nah, you don't go in. I said, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? I wanna go. Ugh. He said, because you are the only one that could probably do something with your life.
Right.
So you stay here. If anyone comes, you tell us, but you stay here. And I was like, bro, he said, nah, man, I think you got a future. They went up, that guy moved out that day. Do you know what I mean?
Funny that.
That day. But the point is they started seeing whatever it is I had that brought me here, they started seeing it and they were like, nah, we don't want you to.
That's good though, because that's proper friends, you know? Proper friends that
I only speak to one of them still, but
a lot of people would actually go, yeah, let's go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember that conversation.
People actually like saying, no, you stay back.
Yeah, I remember that conversation, man. You know, but you know, I was like, no, you know, Charlie Big Charles, I want to come, and I'll box him up. Bro, you're the only one of us that we think can do something. Like, you don't go up. It was like Good Will Hunting. Right. It's legit, bro. It's legit. Do you know what I mean?
And obviously, you know, you've been with your wife how long now? It's got to be 20 years?
16 years married.
16 years, wow.
Married, and then we were together a few years before that, so yeah.
Amazing. And how many children have you got now?
4.
Wow.
4. We had a baby just when all the madness happened, man. It was the worst, you know, it was just the worst thing because like all these things come out, people saying this, saying that. I'm like, this ain't real, this ain't drill. And she's going through, my mum's going through it, who's not well. You know, my dad's going through it, who's not well. And then my missus is pregnant. It was the worst thing, man. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, as well, people don't see that.
They don't care.
But the thing is, they didn't see that. You know,
they don't care. And they said they made me out like I was some monster. Do you know what I mean? So like, I think people don't care, me. They don't care about how it affects your children, how it affects your health, because they paint you as this monster, and therefore, the society that we live in now is when they decide you're this monster, you deserve everything you get. Someone can say you said a comment and that traumatized them, so your life's got to be fucking ended.
Well, do you know something? The thing that I find shocking now, like, obviously having young kids, right, and they go to school, and you hear them talking about mental health issues and kids like self-harming and going through this shit. And I said to my son, I said, what? I said, you know, I can't imagine what it's like being a kid now, right? And he said, Dad, he said, it's so hard because he said, you don't know what you can say, what you can't say.
Yeah.
And because we're in this fucking crazy world where, you know, people can say whatever they want and like nobody
questions it.
There's no
due process.
There's no due process. It's just like, okay, and also, like, you know, a lawyer I know really well said, if your son goes out with a girl, and this is fucked up, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, tell him, you know, to be very careful. He's not in an enclosed space with on her own, because if she decides that he's done something wrong and says that he's touched her inappropriately or done something to her, like, your son can have his life ruined, right? Yeah. And also, you know, if they're out and they're drinking, they're having fun, and then they end up going back to her house, going back to his house, and then they something happens, right? You know, he said it's almost like you've got to go, can you just sign this consent form?
They can say 2 days after, actually, I decided I didn't like that.
Exactly. And the problem is, it happens with boys, it happens with girls, but I think what the world's done now is, it's like, I believe, right, without any shadow of a doubt, there's bad people, right,
100%.
who do bad things, right?
Well,
so,
we know there's bad people.
So I'm not saying that, you know, it's right or wrong, but what I am saying is that there are bad people, and those bad people need to be punished. But I think the issue is, there's lots of people out there, and because people know that if they say that person's done something or that person's whatever,
fuck them up,
they can basically throw them under a bus. One of my mates has got a big hotel company, and he had a Christmas party, and one of the DJs was playing just music, right, popular music, and in one of the songs there was some lyric, right, it was some rap song, I can't even remember what it was, and he said 2 of his staff wrote a letter to the HR department and said, we were triggered by the song, the lyrics of the song, and we can't come into work now, we've got to seek, you know, emotional support and all this. And he looked at it and he sort of laughed, and he was like, is this fucking like a wind up?
That's right? Real, isn't it?
But I think what it's doing, it's giving people permission to become bad. So it's literally saying to everybody, look, if you say this, you can fucking ruin people's lives. You can actually go out and you can say, that guy's touched my ass. I mean, I've got to say one thing, Noel, right? I've known you 16 years. Yeah. You never sent me a dick pic.
Oh my God.
What's going on?
You never flirted enough, Terry.
I even dressed up as a woman in doghouse.
You never flirted enough. You never flirted enough, mate. I'll send you one after.
Okay, thanks. But
I know what you mean, though, man.
But
and
no,
it's like,
joking apart, it's that thing where, and also like another lawyer that I know actually said to me, and I mean, as a parent and as a sort of 50-year-old man who's growing up, and I actually think that I'm worldly and sensible, you know, someone said to me the other day, make sure your kids do not send any naked pictures, right? And I'm like, well, they're kids. I hope they're not fucking doing that, right?
They might be.
And my son, who you've met, said to me, he said, Dad, he said, this girl keeps sending me pictures of her tits. He said, I don't know what to do. I said, don't fucking do anything. I said, don't do anything. I said, delete the pictures. Yeah. And I said, do not send anything back.
And don't say anything.
Do not engage. Yeah. Right? Don't say nice tits or anything inappropriate. Just delete and just say, please don't send me this stuff. And he said, yeah, but you know, it's quite nice. And I said, don't, because I said, if you send her something or you say something to her, she keeps that message, and then later on you fall out of her, and then she goes, oh look, he was saying things about my tits.
And encouraging me and all this kind of stuff.
And then all of a sudden he's like Jimmy Savile or some like sex offender, and you just think, you know, and I do feel like the world's gone a bit crazy. And
it has, and the thing is like,
I was just going to say now, I hope that common sense prevails at some point, and we go back to how things were. But I think
I don't know, mate, because I just think it's at this place where, you know, and like you, I feel like, you know, when people have done, you know, people make mistakes. Like the problem with all this stuff, it doesn't even allow for, let's say that everything that happened was true, like, and I was like, mate, you know what, I made a mistake. Even if it was all true, which it 100% ain't, I still wasn't spoken to by authorities. I still wasn't, I went to the police reporting false allegations, and no one talked to me. So you'd have to go, well, hold on, they've made him out like all this stuff and still no one's come and talked to him. Like, let's take stock a little bit. But the world's in that place. And the worst thing is everyone's in fear of their own thing. So the moment something like this happens, your mates turn on you, you know, your people just, that are supposed to be your friends will just turn on you. It's just a crazy, crazy time.
Well, I haven't turned on you, I'm still your mate.
No.
But you know what, genuinely, I mean, I sort of despair really, because
Because you said to me earlier, like, you know, you see people turn on me and you just thought, you know, it weren't.
But genuinely, like, you know, the one thing that I found shocking when all this stuff started happening, and like I've known you for 16 years, right? And I came as a friend, right? And I do genuinely think, if it was true, right, you would have been, do you know what? I fucked up. I was drunk or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Shouldn't have done it. I'm really sorry, right? That is what I thought. And I did actually say to my wife, I said, if any of this stuff was true, he would have just put his fucking hands up.
Well, I still said sorry anyway. And then they go, I still said sorry if I offended anyone anyway. And then they go, well, he said sorry. He must have done it all. And it's like, well, no, you still say sorry if you've upset people.
Right, of course.
Because if you're a normal person, you don't want to upset people. Do you know what I mean?
Well, as I said, and I think that the thing that upset me the most was there was people that I've known for a number of years, people that you've worked with and known for a number of years, that come out and basically just said, yes, you know, I'm standing with the women.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the thing is, you sort of think, well, you know, if you, and maybe their PR or their agent or their manager or their friends or whoever told them, you've got to do this to distance yourself from Noel. But the reality is, right, if I'd have been in something with you, I wouldn't have made that post and I wouldn't have made those comments. I'd have just said, listen, I've known Noel for that amount of time.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything inappropriate going on. And if it is true, I stand with the women.
Yeah.
If it ain't true, I'm not fucking standing with the women, right?
Yeah.
So let's find out what the truth is here. Because the thing is, in life, you know, we should be seeking the truth. And I think there's so much fake news, there's so much bullshit. And it's like, you know, when you talk to people now, and that's, I think another cause of this mental health is the kids don't know what they can say, don't know if they're allowed to have an opinion. It's like walking around on eggshells, and it's like, I think this, if I say it, will I upset someone? And it's like, if you say anything, you're either anti this, anti that, racist, far right. You know, there's no
homophobic or
you know. So it's literally like, if you don't say or agree with whatever the narrative is, right, or whatever people think the narrative is, they out being
a certain majority of a certain minority of the people. And I think it's really interesting, man, and it is upsetting, and it's hard to raise kids in a world like this. But also it is where you know, you start to, you know, because, you know, recently I've heard a lot of things about, you know, recently a lot of people been messaging me and so a lot of people are starting to turn on the people that did it. So people are now starting to tell me things.
Right.
You know, people messaging me going, by the way, I know who done this, I know who done that. I'm like, really? Sending me messages, and they're starting telling me things. And what's interesting about it, when starting to hear stuff like that, is like, you hear about guys that are involved, and I'm like, if you were directing a film and shagging girls in the art department, you shouldn't be talking about me. Do you know what I mean? You start hearing, if you were working in a production company, and shagging 2 of your employees, why am I now hearing that you're talking about me? Do you know what I mean? And you start to hear all these things, and you just think, what hypocrites?
Yeah.
And you realise it was never about anyone protecting people. It was about, they didn't like what I had.
Right.
And they wanted to take it from me.
But do you know what? I think people that are listening or watching this podcast, you've gone through this like traumatic time. You've had everything ripped away from you. You've had your career destroyed by this stuff. I mean, how did you deal with it? I mean, you know, because it's like one day you're fucking there,
flying,
and the next day you're like
gone
on the floor going like, what the fuck's happened? And it was like instant. It wasn't even like over a few months. It was literally like boom,
24 hours done.
But you know, how did you? Because and the reason I'm asking this, it's not because of any other reason than I think other people watching this may not have gone through what you've gone through, but they may have lost everything.
Yeah.
They may have had a trauma in their family. They may have lost someone, and I think how you cope with it and how you got through it and how you've kind of rebuilt, I think people would find that interesting though, to actually.
Well, I mean, there's no easy answer there, you know, because it affects everything. Like, you know, to the point where, you know, I used to help my cousin pay for his house. I used to I got a half brother no one really knows about. I used to send him money for his medicine. I used to, you know, help fly my family over. I can't do none of that now.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You know, my little one can't go to the same nursery that my other 3 went to because the fees are too much.
Right.
I can't get the life insurance that I used to get because the life insurance I used to get, when you try to renew it, they go, oh, have you ever had, they go through the questionnaire. Have you ever had this palpitation? Have you ever had suicidal thoughts? Now, most people just go, nah, of course I fucking ain't. I can't say that because I was in the paper.
Right.
And if they see that you're lying, they void your insurance. So I say, yeah, I have had that. And, you know, I didn't ever act on it, but I nearly did, but I haven't, but I'm okay. We can't insure you anymore. We can't give you life insurance. Like, they don't understand the impact that the things that they do have. And so getting through it, like the first 6 months, obviously people like you called me and, you know, were just like, look, mate, I don't know. You know, I remember you saying to me, like, I weren't there. You might have done, but I'm your mate. And if you have done, you need to get in trouble. But if you haven't, but I'm your mate. And so when you come out, I'll be here. Right. If you don't go in, you know what I mean? I said, I ain't going in because it's bullshit. But I don't know what the answer is. There's, as I said to you from the start, you know, when we first talked about being that kid, there's a resilience that I've always had.
Right.
From the beginning, from birth. I've always had this resilience where, like, I know who I am.
Right.
What they did was they took away my discipline. They took away my knowledge of who I was. So for 6 months, I was like, I'm out of here. I'm going to slit my throat. I'm gone.
But and a lot of people won't understand why you would do that. But unless you're in that fucking position,
because people say to you, you don't know. People say to you, and I spoke to someone about this the other day, and they said, don't, because, you know, the other day in summer, I got a little bit down again, you know, and people say, don't, you've got a beautiful family. But when you're there, you don't think about that.
No.
When you're there, you don't think, oh, I got wife and kids, don't do that. All you think, and anyone who's had this will know, like, all you think is they're going to be better off without me.
Yeah.
They'll get a new dad, she get a new fella. I don't want to be a burden, they'll be better off. That's what you think. And it's a struggle to get out of that, you know what I mean? My discipline that I had was always like, I get up X amount early in the morning, I go gym, I come home, I write 5 pages before my mates even get out of bed. They took my discipline. The depression that this thing caused is sometimes where I couldn't get out of bed. Do you know what I mean? They fucking broke me. But that's what they wanted to do.
Right.
This was never really about, you know, because if these things were true, look, they recently went after Russell Brand, right? And yeah. I don't know what he's done, I weren't there, whatever like that, right? But they said they investigated for 3 years. They had 5 allegations. They had a whole fucking Channel 4 documentary about him on 5 allegations. If I really had 20 allegations, do you not think I would have had a documentary? They would have done a fucking Apple TV show, $9.99, Amazon Prime, like the monster in the end, like, do you know what I mean? So why am I sitting there 2.5 years later and nothing's happened? Right. Well, he's only had 5 and they've done a whole TV show about it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So where they put you in that place, mate, it just kills everything. But that's what they want to do. They want to emasculate, criminalize. They just want to destroy you because that's what it's about. He said something about this person, destroy their fucking life. That's all it's about.
Right.
And to build yourself back up again is about that. And there was times when I nearly wouldn't, but you go through this thing, you go through it and you just go, who are you? Who are you? What have you really done? What are your interactions with people your whole life? And you have to kind of go through everything to go, I've gone through every situation, every fucking meeting I can remember. And I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I never have done, never done anything. So I'm pretty clear about what I've done right over the years. So you go through everything like rocking like a fucking nutter. You go through everything and you do that over and over and over again. And then finally after you come out of it and you go, nah, I'm not that. I'm not what they said. Have I ever made mistakes in my life? Yes. Of course you fucking have. You're a human being. But then you go, are you what they said? And you really got to look yourself in the mirror and go, you know what you are, who you are. And it took me months to be like, I'm not that.
Well, also, you know, if you're on the receiving end of this shit, you know, you do actually question your fucking sanity. You actually sit there and go, you know, am I this guy? You know, and it is fucking
100%. There was one of them. Obviously, I can't talk because there's legal stuff going on. But there's one of them that said this stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, did I do that? Did that happen? go through it in your mind, and you're like, nah, it didn't happen. And then someone calls you and goes, I was there. That never happened. And you're like, you were there. Fucking hell, why didn't you call me 2 months ago? Mate, I didn't know if I could reach out, didn't know if him. But I was there, remember? Yeah, you were there. That never happened. You start going, yeah, and then more people start contacting you. Nah, but I was there, mate.
Yeah.
No, they weren't 10 minutes late. They were 2 hours late.
Did you throw yourself? Would you say when you just put yourself in the gym, you focused on your family?
No, mate. I couldn't do anything, mate. When I tell you I was nearly out of here.
But how long did it take you though to?
It took me like 6 months, maybe 7 months before I could even hit. I didn't go to the gym, mate. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't go to the doctor for 2 years.
Wow.
So any problems I was having, injury, I didn't trust the doctor. I thought if I go to the doctor's going to tell the newspaper, he's in here for this, that and the other. I didn't go to the doctor for 2 years. Didn't take my kids to the doctor for 2 years.
I remember when I met you in London.
Yeah.
And I saw the effect it had on you.
Yeah.
You know, you was sunglasses, hat, mask. You were literally like, you know, and
I wear my sunglasses all the time anyway. But
no, but you did. But you know, you was.
I'm like that. I was like that.
It did. I saw the actual effect it had on you, and I did actually think at the time, fuck me, you know, this guy's really had a fucking, you know, it's awful what that, you know, what happened to you, but you know, it's just terrible. But again, you know, for me, as I said, I didn't ever see you do anything wrong, bad, and when I look back and I sort of think, if all this stuff was happening, why didn't anybody else? You know, there's 100 people on a film set. I'm sure there would have been 50 witnesses come out and gone, oh yeah, I saw that. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that there was people on social media, but again, it's just people retweeting stuff and listening to the bullshit and just going, okay, yeah, you know, and obviously once something's put in print, whether it's true or false,
yes,
it doesn't matter.
No,
right? It's same with the internet. If it doesn't matter if it's true or false, as soon as people start going, oh yeah, blah blah, and I just think, I think you know, so when was it 2000? It was in COVID, wasn't it? Was it 20?
No, it was after.
So when was it when this came out? Was it
21?
So 21. So we're 2 years.
2.5, yeah. April 29th.
Okay, so we're 2.5 years now.
A week before my kid's birthday.
Wow.
And I had to have his birthday where we were hiding out in some fucking place where his dad's literally about to fucking do that, and we're trying to make this kid's birthday special. Do you know what I mean? And then my other son's birthday is a week after that. And you're trying to make their birthdays, and big birthdays too, like 13, 10, and you're trying to make their birthday special when you're
and he's like, I mean, and you got to try and switch off and be,
he's smart.
It's Dad, you know.
Happy birthday, son, you know what I mean? And, you know, as I said, you know, I got an ill dad, 80-something years old, he's got to hear that, you know.
But you fast forward though now from when this happened to 2.5 years later, and you know, you like you said, you've got out that depression now, and you're focusing on obviously your family,
writing
and writing,
looking after the babies,
and what else is what I mean, what's your sort of plans for the future now? Because you're not one of these guys that just sits there and waits for life to happen. You'll be making a plan.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna talk about the plan because you just don't. You know what I mean? Don't talk about the plan. I'm gonna just let them all fucking shit their little pants when they go.
When I say the plan, I'm not talking about anything.
No. You're talking about industry. Work. Yeah.
What your plan?
No, I know. I ain't talking about revenge. I'm not into revenge. Like, it's fucking, they've done what they've done. They know what they did, what it is, right? I'm talking about the plan.
Right.
I'm writing.
Yeah.
I've been writing. I'm just putting things in place to try and just work. Do you know what I mean? That's all I want to do. Work. I'm not interested in, you know. Interestingly, I was never interested in friends really, but now even more so. Right. I'm like, pardon me, not interested in friends. And you know, I met some actors last night at an event. And they said, what's the best piece of advice you can give us? And I said, you know, years ago it would have been something different, but now the advice I give you is they're not your friends.
Right.
And they were like, oh, I said, don't take that in negative. I said, they're not your friends. Any actor that you think is your mate, if you was in a job and you broke your foot and were out for 6 weeks and the director said, well, we can wait 6 weeks for Terry, or we can, or one of you guys could take the lead role and we could just shoot now. How many of them you think would turn down that lead role?
None of them.
Not fucking one. They're not your friends. Ever.
So you're not my friend then now, is that what you're saying?
Well, I doubt we'd go up for the same roles, but do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I start trying to explain to these actors, it's like, if they can go up for the same parts as you, they're not your mate. And you can make friends. I got friends, you know, but they're not your fucking friends. And it's really interesting how people just piled on with all this stuff, and it was like any situation that was tiny was blown out of proportion, and people started saying, you know, I've got people suddenly, we wrote his films, and actually, you know,
it wasn't Noel.
Yeah, it was me behind the scenes, and you know, and blah 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 blah. And
I actually played all those. I was actually.
You played all the roles.
We used CGI, didn't we?
Yeah, in Kidulthood, that was you, and I've stole it from you. I blocked your career and I stole it from you. But it's interesting. I mean, even like, I know we're not talking about this. We'll get back onto the positive. But even one of your mates, I think, Vas.
Right.
So, in 2014, 15, when Adam was like threatening my kids and all this kind of stuff, Vas Blackwood was online, like bigging him up. I'm just like, what? This is a guy I respected, mate. I watched Spats and all them Lenny Henry shows and all that. I'm like, this is a ledge. Lock, stock, do you know what I mean? So when I saw that, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this guy, like, he don't know me. I never met the guy, but he's backing up Deeks. I'm like, cool. I know where I'm from. I know what I'm about. When I see you, we're gonna have a chat. A few years later, I see him, Soho, Berwick Street or something like that. And he's like, yes, brother. And I was like, nah, bro, like, don't yes me. We're not mates. I said, I see what you've done. I see what you've done. When my man's threatening my kids and you're bigging them up, and so we're not fucking mates, we ain't mates, man. And I put it on him. Shook my hand at the end. I'm sorry, man, I didn't mean it. I said, cool, man, we're good, whatever, we go about our business. When my thing happens, he's on the radio. Yeah, he bullied me as well. He approached me in Berwick Street and put it on me for like, He ain't lying, but he ain't telling you why it happened.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And there's a lot of that stuff that was going on where people were like saying their version of events. So just pile on. Right. And it fucking does you.
Right.
So it's taken a while to just go, well, hold on, but that didn't happen. And then you have to just realize they're not your mates. As I go back to the thing, they're not your friends. People are gonna say what they're gonna say. That's what you have to realize. I have to come to terms with now in my life, no matter what happens, people are gonna say what they're gonna say.
Yeah.
There's always I could literally disprove everything tomorrow and someone will still be like, nah, you did it. I know you did it. I know you did all of it. And worse, because I've heard, you know. So you just have to, you get to that thing of acceptance where I just have to go, well, I know who I am.
And you're focusing on
and I just got to focus on the positives.
Everybody I know who's gone through any adversity or anybody who's done anything in life, they always say, and it's easy to say, be positive. Focus on the positives.
Yeah. Move on. You fucking move on.
But it is very difficult because obviously you get reminded on a daily basis. But I think what you have to do is, if you throw yourself into writing, and if you go to the gym, and if you focus on your kids, and it takes time. You can't just wake up in the morning and go.
I tell you what's been good, Terry, is I would never want this experience. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Like, no one. Even the people that done it to me, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But I tell you what it's done. It's made me know who I am, right? I went to the Hoffman process, which is this therapeutic retreat.
Is that Wim Hof?
No, it's a different one. But I had to go to this thing because I went to the Hoffman process. I've been doing therapy.
What is that? I mean,
the Hoffman process is a therapeutic retreat where you go for 8 days, no phone, no communication, no TV, no nothing. You go there and you do like visualizations, you do therapy, a bit of counseling, you do the thing, and they break you down to childhood and they make you understand why you are the way you are.
Right.
They make you understand your patterns. Why was I the guy that I never celebrated anything? I was always like, right, on to the next thing. Why was I the guy that got annoyed if someone didn't turn up at 3 o'clock? Why am I pissed? Why are you pissed off? Why are you annoyed? I did a video on Instagram, everyone loves it. Why are you annoyed? And they break you down and they build you back up. And you start to understand why you are the way you are. And you start to understand what the word they love triggers are, what your activations are, why you are the way you are. And one perfect example, which is like the video I put on Instagram, is like, people couldn't handle it. When you start having to look at yourself, people couldn't handle it. It started quitting the process. And one day, like, this guy quit, and he's like, and it was the third person that quit. And the facilitator said, who's annoyed that these people have quit? And I put my hand up. I said, I'm annoyed that he's quit. He said, why are you annoyed? I said, I'm annoyed because this thing costs a lot of money, and he's come, and you guys said no refunds, and he's spent this money. He said, I don't know when I'm going to work again, and he's just wasting his money. And I said, that pisses me off. And the guy, the teacher was like, but that's his money. Why are you annoyed? And I went, fair point. I said, I'm annoyed because...
On his behalf.
Yeah. I said, all right, fair point. I'm annoyed because like you asked all of us people here going through these things at the beginning, are we going to stick together as a group and go through this therapeutic journey together? And we all said we would, and now he's quit, so I'm annoyed. And the guy went, but if he wants to quit, that's his business. Why are you annoyed? So then I was like, you're starting to annoy me now. Right? Like, you fucking annoy me now.
Stop fucking asking me why I'm annoyed.
Right, yeah, and then he said, think about it. I said, okay, I'll tell you why I'm annoyed. I said, I'm annoyed because I've just been through the most traumatic thing in my life, hopefully ever, right? My mum's destroyed, my wife's destroyed, like my kids, everything. I just want to go home. And him going home is weakening me to the point where I want to go home, and that annoys me. And he went, but again, if he wants to go home, like if you want to go home, you can go home. If he wants to go home, why are you annoyed? And I fucking started thinking about it, and he went, who in your life has not done what they're supposed to do? So now when somebody doesn't do what you think they should do, you get annoyed about it. I'm like, fucking hell, man. And it all went back to like, you're supposed to have a dad, aren't you? You're supposed to have someone to raise you, and he weren't there. You know what I mean? So now if somebody tells me they're going to do something, I expect them to do it. And if they don't do it, that annoys me. You see what I'm saying?
I'm the same though.
Yeah, but when you break it down, it's deep stuff. Because actually, why am I annoyed? If they don't want to do it, that's their problem. Why are you really annoyed? But it fucking pisses me off. And I can handle it better now.
I think the reason why people like that annoy me, right, is because I think life is hard. I think creating opportunities, making money, having a career, having a business, all these things are hard, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, you the only way you're going to ever achieve anything is if you do what you say you're going to fucking 100%. Do. It's not rocket science, right? But if you don't do it, yeah. I always think, and the reason I get annoyed is because I think you say that you want all this stuff, yeah, but you don't want to put the work in. Sure. But so you're quitting on it.
Sure. But if they want to quit and not put the work in, that's their problem, innit?
Right, but it still annoys me.
But it's their problem, innit?
It is their problem.
So why are you annoyed?
I just think, you're annoying me now.
But do you see what I'm saying? It's deep stuff. Because actually, what's the old phrase? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Your point is valid, right? Opportunities. But if they don't want to take the opportunities, whose business is it?
Yeah, you're true.
It's their business. True. I shouldn't be annoyed about that. I've given you opportunity, you're wasting it. Move on.
Right.
And it was really deep. So I've done all this therapy, I've done all these things, and it's helped me understand me in so many different ways. Yeah. To the point that actually, whether I agree with what they said about me or not, which I clearly don't, and whether people believe it or not, which some might, and I think most now 2.5 years later don't, but it's like I'm a better person anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I weren't a bad person in the first place. You know what I mean? I was a regular human flawed person probably, and I still am, but I'm a better person anyway.
Right.
I don't let things annoy me. You know, I'll get angry, like, fuck that guy. It doesn't bother me no more. We talked about someone earlier who literally turned on me on a dime, and 2 years ago I'd be like, mate, that motherfucker. Now I'm just like, they text me and I respond. I'm like, yeah, cool. And you know me, you wouldn't believe that a couple of years back. Right. I would have fucking blocked that. I was the kind of guy that if someone done me wrong, I'd be like, cool. You walk out that door, I've blocked your number, I've blocked your email, I've deleted your thing, you can't get me. And I used to do that to those people, and that's why they pissed off. That's why they all done this, because once I was unattainable, I was unobtainable. But now I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, cool.
You know what though? It sounds
it's like a journey.
You've been on a massive journey.
Yeah, very much so.
But I am really excited to see some of the stuff that you're writing, and I think.
Well, hopefully I can get it made, mate.
You will. Without any shadow of a doubt.
Well, hopefully you'll make one of them, you never made one of my fucking things.
Well, we would have done another together, but...
Oh, fuck that movie, man. That fucking trash piece of shit.
But look, no, you know, you've always been a talent.
By the way, I've not watched it. Remember,
Okay.
I don't watch it. I don't watch any. I don't watch any of them things, so I shouldn't even talk about it.
But I genuinely believe, right? I mean, you've absolutely, against all the odds, you made it as an actor. You won a Bafta. You won Laurence Olivier. You made these films that were told wouldn't work. You made TV shows that were massive. Your story's not over yet, mate. And I genuinely believe that you're going to be coming back with something really exciting. And I am watching that space. So, I really appreciate you coming on, Noel.
Always, mate.
And I hope this podcast was different to all the other podcasts.
Yeah.
And we covered some good stuff.
Good stuff, mate.
So thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Terry.
Mate. No, it's lovely to see you.
Yeah,
mate.
you too, man. Love you, always.
Love you too, Cletus.
Sherman. Yeah.
So, wow, what a great guest, Noel Clarke. Thanks very much for tuning into the Criminal Connection podcast with the Podfather, Terry Stone. I will look forward to seeing you next week where I've got a really good guest lined up.
Not as good as me, though. Fucking Podfather. Podfather.